to call the meeting to order. It's 6:01. I'd ask that everybody stands for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Right, we'll move into item number 3, which is the approval of the agenda as written, unless there's a comment.
I would like to add 2 items. Sorry. I would like to add 2 items.
Okay.
To set a public hearing for each of the 2 items on the agenda.
Okay. For
The I-94 ordinance and the data center ordinance.
okay, and are we just going to pick a date at a later time that works for everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, look at, the
Look at the
posting
schedule.
time and
Okay.
all that sort of stuff.
Okay. So we have a motion from Commissioner Roderick to approve the agenda, but to add a public hearing for the 2 items on the agenda.
I'll second.
And we have a second by Commissioner Gurley. All in favor?
I have amendments as well.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to do her separate or how you want to do it. Try to approve hers and then.
I think we'd have to wrap it all together. Go ahead.
Okay. One item I would like to add to the agenda is the planning commission hiring a lawyer that actually specializes in these things versus the obvious representation of landowners here in the village that will make money off this by our village or our township attorney. And a lot of that's largely based on his opinion on the same items is different between the township and the village. That's ridiculous. It can't be different. It's just, there's either one legal opinion of the law or not. And I'd like to see us get an attorney to represent this actual ordinance. The next thing would be the addition of an environmentalist specialist. Because again, we don't know what we don't know. And nobody here in this township is qualified enough to put the things in this ordinance to cover everything environmentally that's related to this. The other thing I would like to do is set a public hearing to revise the future zoning map to remove the I-94 development district. I feel very passionately about this. It was orchestrated by, 2 people in this township and put into a master plan. And those people have obviously been in communication with what they want to go there. And it's wrong that it's there, and we should take it out. The other thing that's wrong with this district and it's being sold is we'll add commercial to it. We will add, we got a whole corner. Meyer, half of that place is empty. There's empty buildings in strip malls that are already built there. There's empty buildings all along Gratiot to Chesterfield. There's Hall Road and I-94 that they stripped down all those trees and property, bulldozed it, and just made a wasteland to put up 3 stores. There's lots of places for things to go. And I don't see this district as any more than bulldozing the entire area, leaving it bare so that we're desperate to take anything that comes. So I don't think that district needs to be here. The community doesn't need that district for its retail or industrial or any other reason whatsoever. So I'd like to add those 3 items to the agenda.
So I guess I do have a question. Since we already technically approved the first motion, would we need to do a second one, or can you have 2 motions on the same topic for this? Or would we need to amend the
We
first?
would need to rescind, to make a motion for the first motion, we would need to rescind that motion, and then you gotta start over.
But But the motion wasn't completed. I cut it off before everyone could actually say aye.
Look, wasn't it,
Just for the sake of, I'll make a motion to rescind my motion.
Okay, then I'll make a motion adding Jen's 2 items. So a total of 5 items for discussion on the agenda.
And just as a housekeeping, also, I just noted, I'm sure it's just oversight, there's no call on the table on that agenda as well.
Oh, then that would be, what would it be? Yeah.
So I mean, the problem is now we're setting a motion to contradict itself though.
Well, we have to rescind the motion, so.
Right, but I mean, some of the things you said, some of the things he said directly conflict each other.
Well, they do. I
We
think-
were gonna set a public hearing to discuss both of these, and now you're trying to send it to the board to look at the potential of modifying or reopening something. So, I mean, that's,
I think we,
Well, they could go in tandem. I mean,
okay, I guess it potentially can go in tandem, and the board will just have to make their decision.
well then, I can't understand why we would put in an ordinance for a district that we don't need or want.
But
A couple of people that want it.
I mean, the thing is about the district is it's in the master plan and it's part of the, it's already adopted, it's there. This is something that's in the works. So we need to get through these and set boundaries or rules, because right now it's already in that classification. So by opening things and getting the board to approve that and then to go back, you're essentially now going to get out of the moratorium, you're going to get out of the timeframes, and you're susceptible to have no rules. And I guess I just don't know how that's going to.
Well, I guess that'll have to get figured out. Number one, the district, can someone raise their hand that wants it? Just one person? Anybody besides some of the administration at the table? Nobody wants this district, and it's a future land use map. It is not stone. There's nothing stone about that thing. It's what we thought of. And now we rethought it because our constituents that we serve say it's nuts. They don't want it. So we're not changing property that's already zoned. And in New Haven, we have amended the future zoning map several times.
Sure, it's just the criticalness of getting these done to have something in place. We can still go back and modify and change things later, but if we're going to do something that directly stops these, then we can't make any forward progress. That's my concern.
Well, I'm not getting threatened by this board that was here the other day, that 2 of them are going to make money off of this issue. They're not threatening me to push this into some kind of rushed consideration. I'm just not doing it. I'll file a lawsuit myself. That's crazy. The board threatens us under a 4-month deadline to create probably one of the most complicated ordinances in the country. The entire country is faced with these things, and everybody is facing that challenge, and it's a lot of work. It's not a 4-month process. And maybe if those other people, Michelle's the only person on the board, and Anthony, that actually comes to these meetings to see how complicated this issue truly is. And it's not something that we should, don't get me wrong, I want to create as strong an ordinance as I can, but I'm not rushing through it to appease 2 guys that are going to make money off of selling their property. And we have plenty of property in this village that will support a data center, and they can put them there. Is it 15,000 whatever acres that they're looking to destroy us with? No, but they can build a data center. It just won't be, the mega center that apparently is being batted around. A lot of things have been misrepresented to us. And it's obvious that this data center has been in the works for a long time. And it's getting thrown at us. If they were in talks with people about a data center a year ago or in the summer, then that's when we should have started working on an ordinance. And so they very and I'm not going to be that person that lives in this community and not figure out every single way I can to keep this development under as much constraints as we legally can. And that's why we need an attorney. Because again, the attorney that represents the township board. He's hired by the board. He doesn't represent this ordinance. And like I said, he's said two different things to two different municipalities. So how you can tell me that those two guys down there strangle-holding us to get this done in 4 months is not a conflict of interest when they benefit if the ordinance never makes it? That's a conflict of interest. I don't care how you dice it, slice it, anything that has to do with these data centers or that property whatsoever is a conflict that those two gentlemen should not be voting on. If they're hindering us from getting where we need to get, then yes, they are voting in a conflict. I don't care what that attorney says. And yeah, I'm not disagreeing with working on these ordinances. Well, I think the district ordinance is a waste of time because we can, as this board, change the future zoning map. That's our privilege, correct, Mr. Planner?
You can amend the master plan anytime you like.
But we can just amend the future zoning map as well.
That's part of amending the whole master plan, yes. Go through the process, intent plan and things like that.
You're saying that you have to do both simultaneously.
No, you can amend a master plan one day, you can do another part the next day if you wanted to.
But I mean, you can break the map up and take care of the map and eliminate that district from the future zoning map and then go back and do the process of amending the master plan. I mean, we did it in New Haven. I'm saying they're two different items. The master plan is in.
I would suggest you do it at one time. Because you have different, I mean, you've got 3 months of, you got 63-day waiting period for each item. So if you do them separately, the process of amending it is going to be extended quite a long time.
Well, I'm saying do them in tandem. We hold the meeting and do the future zoning map. That's a creature of its own. It doesn't just
Is
exist.
it zoning
within a
map or
master
future
plan.
land use map? You talking zoning map or future land use map? I'm getting,
The future land use map.
okay.
We can amend that. We don't have to open up an entire master plan just to
Absolutely. You got to notify all the surrounding communities, the intent to replan.
okay.
It's just, I think you have to go through the entire master plan process again.
And we can, as a board, open up that plan and start this process.
I'm not, you can, I think you need some direction from the township board.
I'm going to say yes because the attorney never got back to me to tell me no. I asked him. He never came back and said, no, you can't do that. And you know he would have told me no if he could have said no. So I'd like to move forward with amending vendor zone.
Okay, this is, so the board's got to approve a budget for that. They have.
Yeah, let's see if they don't. We as a board want certain things that we should be allowed to do this. And let them decide yes or no that they don't want to do something. Let them explain it to all the people in this community why they want to keep hindering this process. That's not my problem. That's their problem.
So essentially, we are looking to put together a couple recommendations to the board for them to consider.
Correct.
So I understand everybody's feelings, and the intent is to go through these and get them in, so that way, if we do not get extensions, if we do not get any more time, that we can at least have something in place. Just by putting an ordinance in, doesn't mean we all agree or we want it or we're accepting of it, but at least there is a layer of protection there. So we can get this in, try to get this done, get through our open business, and we can make recommendations for the master plan or other things. And essentially, we could work through this and then potentially start working on that. But I think we still have to try to move forward with these ordinances tonight.
Well, to hire an attorney and an environmentalist would require a budget, and that would require the board to approve it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. We can make a recommendation for them to consider.
The master plan is our purview as the planning commission. So we can open that up and start that process at this meeting.
Well, it's not on the agenda.
I'm adding it to the agenda.
Well, we can make a recommendation.
No, there's no need to have a recommendation. It's a zoning issue directly related to the business at hand, right here and now in front of us. So yes, we can amend our agenda to include that. That's township. That's the mission. And if our glorious township attorney wants to overturn us somehow, again, we did our job, and they can explain that to everybody else. But for us, we have the ability to amend our agenda when it relates to the items on the agenda. And this directly relates to the master plan, these items. That's our privilege. And we could start that, correct, Mr. Planner? It's our purview to work on the master plan.
Yes, it is.
Could I, if I may, can I make a motion to rescind my motion? And I'll start with that. Can I make a motion to rescind my motion, please?
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Rodzik.
I didn't support it.
She's trying to rescind.
I know, but doesn't her supporter have to?
It would be Michelle, I believe.
Oh,
Second.
okay, we have a second from Commissioner Gurley. Can we do a roll call?
Rodzik?
Yes.
Gurley? Aye. Sutton?
Aye.
Jabory?
Aye.
Millard?
Aye.
Knell?
Aye.
Ayes have.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to add the 2 public hearings, the call from the table, Rob's recommendations to the board. I believe they would all be recommendations because we would need permission for all 3.
No, 2. The attorney and the environmental.
But he said to
Those
open a
would be-
master plan, there would have to be budgeting for the planner because they have to modify and go through, they have to get surrounding areas. That's what he stated, that's why we do need to
Yes.
make a recommendation.
So it would be 3 recommendations.
So you're saying you would need them to approve your budget in order to help us do that?
You could either do it internally, or if you had us do it, someone would have to agree to it.
Well, can you please give us a roadmap? I'll do it myself. It saves us money. I mean, it's a process. It's filing documents. We're not looking to reinvent the whole wheel there. We're looking to amend it. I will happily do the work if they don't want to give you a budget for it. And they can decide that after we open it. They want to pay you to do it. If not, I would think be within our retainer to at least get it. And if not, I'll look it up myself. It's law.
So it sounds like what we need to do for the process is make a recommendation, and then if they were to deny it or say there's no funding, then we can make the decision to do it ourselves. But I think we have
That's
to.
just hampering the process. You know they're going to say no. They wouldn't even give us another month to work on this ordinance. We can't depend on them for these things. We have to depend on ourselves as a board to do what we're legally responsible to do. They're going to say no, without a doubt.
Everything we give to them, they're gonna say no.
So why waste another month when we can start the process and get it rolling? The sooner we get it rolling, the sooner we can get it out of there. And the sooner, I can sleep at night. I don't sleep. All I do is think about this stupid thing. I think of all these people that directly affected by this. It makes me gag and sick.
Anybody in here slow?
The amount of stress that this issue has caused all these people is, and I'm sure you all feel it too. I mean, I was at Myers for 4 hours the other day because I just get stopped in there, and I'm not getting beat up, but I am getting. I couldn't go in there for 20 minutes to get my groceries. I've been going to the marketplace over here, not because there's nobody there. No offense. If you're in the room and talk to get Myers. And I very happily will do that. But man, it's stressful.
Dave, could I ask you a
And I don't want to be the responsible. Does anybody want to be responsible for totally altering this community? I sure don't want that on my epitaph.
Does opening up the master plan require action regardless of who does it from the board? Or can we independently here do that without that action, if money was not involved?
Typically, at the direction of the board to open up the master plan.
That's okay, that's
It is a purview of the planning commission to do it. The planning commission acts as an advisory body on land use to that board.
So it would be a recommendation.
The recommendations of the master plan.
Well, and why would the attorney tell me that? Because the attorney, I asked him directly, and Anthony thought that was, the master plan is ours. It's not the board's. So I say we make the motion in whole to open it, and if it has to get altered by them in order to attain our goal to start the master plan, then let them add it as a layer of their government and their responsibility. But we don't need to make a recommendation. We could say we want to open it, and they can do what they wanted their board to do, correct?
But I mean, we're saying it has to be a recommendation, but then you nod in your head. So I mean, do we need to make a recommendation to be able to do that? Because we need to know the proper language to move forward with tonight. Because the entire reason we're here is to try to work on this constructively, and we've already wasted 25 minutes spinning in circles talking about the same things we already know. So I appreciate everybody's input, but again, we're hindering forward progress here by ignoring it. So do we need a recommendation to the board to be able to review or modify the master plan?
I am going to say, yes, you should send a recommendation to the board, ask the planning commission to modify.
You're asking the commission.
Yes.
Then why don't we do this? We make a recommendation to them. And we make a motion to open up the master plan ourselves. Whatever one flies in the actual research in the law, then that's the one that will go. But again, we're just making motions and a recommendation. If our ability not to do something is going to stop in the legal process, then it stops. But at least at our table, we got it moving. So make two, I say make two items. A recommendation to the township board to open the master plan, and another motion that the planning commission open the master plan. And if that prevails, then we're a month ahead of the ball versus a month behind. And then, again, it goes to the board.
Yeah, because their meeting, it was on June
Justify their
1st.
systems.
So if we made a recommendation, it would get reviewed or voted on the 1st, so it'd be about 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. There's a lot happening around here in 2 weeks. I mean, this place is moving really, really quick. And I'm not saying that I'm 100% right. From what I've read, we can open up. From the lack of attorney input, we can open it up. Anthony, but the master plans are, and maybe he's wrong, maybe all of them are wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. And that motion will just die in the cloud because it's no good. But it was made and it can get started on.
I'll accept that. I do want specifically though, for the sake of staying in line with our current agenda, that it specifies opening the master plan and recommendation of the master plan for review of the I-94 development district.
So E would be recommendation to open, so the first three are recommendations. Oh no, the first two are the public hearings. So E would be an attorney. F would be environmentalist,
Just
recommendations. And G would be the planning commission opening the master plan to amend. And then H would be a recommendation from the planning commission to the board of trustees to amend the master plan.
So motion made.
Support.
So I think we need to make it very clear
Could
for
we
them
have
to
the motion
record.
clarified?
So
We need the
we
motion
have,
clarified.
have we rescinded the first one technically?
Yes.
The
Yes.
first one
Okay,
has
so
been
we're solid with
rescinded
the
with
vote
all
on the
ayes.
first rescinding.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion is the two items setting the public hearings.
C and D.
The housekeeping of the call from the table.
Yep, so add a call to the table.
Okay.
Number 7.
The recommendation to the board for, to retain an environmentalist. The recommendation to the board to retain a attorney at the planning level.
E and F.
And the recommendation to
Or the trustees.
a recommendation to the board to revisit the master plan I-94 Development District. And then the action to open the master plan I-94 Development District in the master plan. I don't know if it's.
That would be G and H.
I think we're actually on I at this point.
All right.
I'll go through it with you.
C's public hearing.
Yeah,
D's public hearing.
yeah.
E's call from the table added to the agenda.
Oh, no, it's not. No. That's number 7.
Oh, so we're just gonna add it, it's not gonna be.
Yeah, it's missing.
So that would be 7 and 8 would be adjournment. So we're amending those, just 7 and 8. I see where you're coming at. Yeah.
I was just writing down an order you said.
I see what you're saying. So it would be C and D, E and F, and G and H.
Is that clear? Did you get that?
It's about as clear as mud. So I'll listen to it about 8 times to figure it out.
Okay.
Sorry.
Is someone going to second that?
So we have a motion by Commissioner Rosnick
I support it.
and a support by Commissioner Pennell. Can we do a roll call to modify the agenda?
Yep. Rodzik?
Yes.
Pinell?
Yes.
Sutton?
Yes.
Jabord?
Yes.
Millard?
Yes.
Gurley? Thank you. All ayes, motion passes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we will move into number 4, which is the public comment on agenda items. As always, everyone's welcome to speak. We do have a lot of pages to go through, so we do ask try not to be redundant and let's be professional. Can you press the button? No. There you go.
My name is Grace Eisen, I live on Pashock Road. In reviewing particularly the materials from the Celine event, saying no was their worst option. They ended up in 48 hours in a lawsuit that they couldn't afford to fight. They didn't have the documentation that they're trying to create, and they lost everything. We will not have any support from our governor or her legislature. In review of the resolutions or the documents for the data center, on page 7 of the document dated 4/23 draft, it talks about aesthetic appearances for the mechanical environment under 2B. I would like to have that include sound barriers. Those generators do make a lot of noise. and there should be sound barriers included there. Under 5B, it talks about withdrawals and discharges of water. And it says by state and county permits, so I don't know for sure if that includes regular checking for contaminants, and that should be included if it's not. On page 8, under G and noise vibrations, the description we were given was lawnmowers. Most people operating lawnmowers wear ear protection. Therefore, I think we need to look at something more reduced in that decibel levels, including the soundproofing and double wall barriers to accomplish it. That was page 8, section G, part 1.
Thank you.
On page 9, section 8, part 1, does require the hiring of an environmental engineer. My question involves around who hires. The developer or the township, who pays? The township should definitely have a hand in who is hired. Our experience with Piper Sack Sand Pit is they hired the water contaminant treatment people. They told them where to dig. We don't need that kind of support. Following on page 10 about anticipated water usage, it doesn't clearly define whether this is wells or city water. Now, if you're right next to the landfill, the water's contaminated. It probably wouldn't hurt the residents. However, that water does get discharged and it would need to be addressed. I feel that city water is a must to protect people who do have wells, that their aquifer levels are not damaged. And there was an area about generators, and I've lost my spot, but it talks about them meeting the emission controls and the 4 different kinds. I feel diesel generators should be eliminated because they do release the largest amount of emissions into the environment, and we do have natural gas right at 30 miles.
Thank you.
Hello, this is Eric Zardik, 10249 Lindsay Road. I want to encourage you on the Planning Commission. The Township Board majority has been disrespectful to you, the citizens, and common decency. They've gone rogue with their own agenda, and their excuses are poorly told lies that make no sense. If they had their way, the only thing the Township could do is reply, "How high," when told to jump. They want you to give up. I'm encouraging you not to give up. The more you try to do your proper due diligence, the worse the Township Board majority looks, and the more a track record shows gross negligence and bad faith on those officials' part, the likelier it is that we'll see justice in a potential lawsuit. Play hardball. Do what you can to scrap this concept of the I-94 district that makes no sense for a data center, being so close to 2 hospitals, several neighborhoods, and a prison. And please protect us from the unbearable hell of 24/7 noise torture. If you can, add provision to the ordinance that require continual noise data collection accessible through a public dashboard with steeply escalating fines for non-compliance that a megacorp cannot simply ignore. I'll be going to Casco's meeting next to rally their residents to support you and the broader community. Please continue to fight for us. Thank you.
Sure you remember me from last time, Taurus Mander, 59111 Frost Road. I came up here with all these wonderful notes, and I'll read those afterwards, but I want to point something out. Lawsuits come from 2 directions. So you guys are sure that this company that you're dealing with has deep enough pockets to sue you. I want you to look up the last 3 times that Lenox Township class action lawsuited their own township. I'm on all 3 of them. So, if we class action lawsuit you, the lawyer that comes in here to fight us will be like Aaron Brockovich type lawyer. Their names are Smith. I've already called them. They're comfortable with coming in. The minute you guys drop your plan, we are suing our own city. So which direction do you want the lawsuit to come from? A company you don't know or your neighbors? Now, with that said, this. You are our neighbors. You took this job because you care about our future. This is an agricultural community. Many people have already bought fertilizer, seed, and diesel. They have put in physical and emotional labor. We have made plans. We have done maintenance. We have planned buying things like tractors from Joe. Loss of food for our community. I want you to think about how much you all paid for vegetables the last time you went to the store. If I don't plant corn, we don't grow pigs. I want you to think about where people's insulin comes from. Insulin comes from pigs. Without insulin, people will die. Without corn, the pigs will die. Drive down the mile roads and tell me if you see any farms with corn planted. There is an apocalypse of food loss coming, and you guys are adding to it. So some guy in India can make porn. I ask that you do the right thing. I ask that you do what is right and fair for your neighbors. I can sell my house for $5 million. I could not go to work tomorrow. I take care of people with cancer. My patient is dying, and I am here dealing with this.
Okay, she'll be back.
Hello, I'm back again as well. My name is Joe Halford. I'm not a lawyer, I'm just an engineer. So laws are only as good as the teeth that we put behind them. And all I'm seeing, I know I have more homework to do, but I'm not seeing any punishments or punitive damages that coming from failure to do any of this. If they inadequately dispose of IT materials, water, anything else, can there be treble damages? There's nothing here. So this needs more time to develop, but we need to have something in place that we can put our backs on, because obviously this is going to be a lawsuit. It's better to have it up front, where we're trying to be preventative and productive. To put any punitive damages, any court rectification that happens, yeah, the township can revoke for anything that they're doing. That's not good in the eyes of the law when you're trying to fight for punitive damages. So I ask that the township, that the board here today think about this, and please plan on putting it in the ordinance, anything for punitive damages or rectification and issues on failure to comply. Thank you.
My name is Kyle Carrier. I live at 27 in Bates. I attended one of the first meetings that we did on this, and the initial distance for the data center that was proposed was supposed to be 1,320 feet away. It's about a quarter mile. I had advised, I'm a collateral underwriter, that's what I specialize in, that it should be at least 1 mile, which is 5,280 feet away from any residential or property lines. And that is due to the adverse site conditions. When mortgages, when we are looking, or any type of real estate, the first thing we look at is it marketable? Can we sell it? Would you buy it? Would you buy it? Anybody. So we already have Selfridge flies overhead. That's a noise. We have a train right there. That's noise. With the increasing traffic through 26 Mile, that adds busy roads. So now if we add a data center, that's an adverse site condition. I can tell you right now, I would not live next to a data center. I would not live within. Now the new proposal is 500 feet on every page. You flip through 500 feet, 400 feet, even 1,320 feet, that's not enough. And I see that all the time. Whether it's in Virginia, I do every state. And I see this come up with adverse site conditions. I see business deals fall through because people don't want to buy because of these. So I would recommend looking into the distance from that, whether you have to call around, get information, do your own research, but I'm telling you as a collateral professional, I would make it long.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are you doing appraisals then for these properties?
So I don't appraise, I work with the AMCs, so they send the appraisals over to us, and then we interpret the investor guidelines, whether it's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Charles Schwab, FHA, whatever you're going through, I have to make sure that those guidelines are met so we can close the loans and sell the property. So the appraiser goes out and says, hey, there's an adverse site condition. It's not marketable. It affects the marketability of the home because we can't find comps in the area, or we think that in our professional opinion, it's not marketable. Then we can't close on that. We have to suspend the loan. And it's a very disheartening thing to tell somebody that their forever home, they can't have it, because they'd have to buy it outright with cash, because we can't find an investor to back that product. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, Ariana Welsh, 11299 37 Mile Romeo, but I have property here in Lenox, Summit Forest. Thank you for bringing up the discussion and voting on this tonight on the I-94 district. I want you to know 840 people are behind you on this. We have 840 signatures. So I wanted to share this with the board. Ms. Mills, you got people behind you that want this. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Corey Fairby, 59152 East Brockton. I had come up and made comments before. I just wanted to reiterate. I would love to see PFAS ban, other dangerous chemicals like that, not being able to be used in our community. I also think that we should be banning on-site power generation, especially gas turbines. That's what makes the loud noise from a lot of videos that people see. And again, I'd also like to say that we do need to treat the jail as residential in terms of keeping the distance away, because people live there 24/7. So, thank you. That was it.
Hi, Susan Sofranik, Amherst on East Cranston. I have a question because I'm curious, and I could be off the mark, but I don't think I am. I understand this has been in the works since, do I want to say January or before that? This whole data center idea, behind closed doors maybe, is what the rumblings are. So what the question is this: do you guys feel rushed, like you're being forced into being rushed to make proper decision because perhaps the developers want, because the applications have been maybe formed, they want to claim grandfather clause? So basically, if they do that, then the train has already left the station and we're kind of screwed. And I'm asking, have you thought about that? Am I crazy here, or is it a legitimate thought?
So I guess, we are not aware on this board of an application or anything being in, and if there were someone to rezone, it would need to come here. So as far as what this board has or knows, there is no information as far of a development or what is in the plan or the works, allegedly. As far as rushed, I think, that is a individual opinion up here. I think we thought we had more time, and based on the feedback in the meeting, we were told we don't, and that we need to do our job. So that's why we called this special meeting, and we've all been working on this and collaborating and trying to get it as detailed as we can. I will say, I don't think anything besides the master plan has taken more than a few months. So as far as what I would say a standpoint from the board, I mean, this is probably something that we've now been talking about the longest. Most ordinances aren't this detailed, so.
Because the last meeting, we were completely and utterly taken in disregard, disrespected. Other communities that fought the data center and lost, their train had left the station. The developers had more power than they did, more legal standing, because they grandfather claused. Are we going to fall into that trap is what this is what keeps me awake at night. And, I was speaking to some farmers out in Saline, because I decided to go out there and talk to some people. The chickens, their water. There's an oily layer in the bottom of their drinking water. And the farmer took his fingers and he ran it through. And he's like, this is what my livestock is drinking. It's going to kill them. It's in the water. The emissions is settling into the water. There's so many animals. There's a very large grass-ridden farm with $1 million horses that come from all over the country to be trained by these people that live out there. And the horses, they don't do well with change, vibration, noise, emissions. This is going to affect everything here. Don't we have enough to deal with the landfill? Don't we have enough to deal with, we have the correctional facility. I feel like if it's toxic, New Haven must have it. We gotta get it. We have to have it in our backyard. This is how I feel. We fought tooth and nail with that landfill situation with Rizzo. Honestly, I just want to live in my house, raise my kids, enjoy my life, pay my bills that I half the time can't pay. I'm getting tired here, people. I don't know about anyone else, but is anybody else getting tired of always having to fight for something? Yes. Can't we just be say that? This grandfather clause thing, I'm telling you, maybe try to look into that a little bit because I think I'm on to something. Thanks. I appreciate your time.
Yes.
Danielle Hader, 61160 Elmo Road. To touch on what most have talked about is something called the environmental impact study, which you guys would actually necessitate what that entails exactly, but things that the study would do is potential damage for natural resources, wetlands, and water quality. Also, it make sure that we are in compliance with regulations of the Clean Air Act and the Clean Water Act. As us as a community, we would actually like to see the actual study itself before a shovel is put into the ground and make sure this is done before moving forward with any permitting at all. Another thing I want to talk about is possibly changing the noise ordinance as a whole. Instead of having a broadband noise ordinance, to focus on a tonal noise ordinance. If you've never heard of that, I would highly recommend you doing that. So what that does, a tonal noise, how it ordinance and how it impacts people and animals. It affects pregnant women, causes insomnia, it disturbs people with heart issues, it also affects pacemakers, it affects rangers and animals. It actually, the animals do not feed properly, therefore dairy cows do not produce the milk that they're supposed to. It also creates mental health in children, adults, and the elderly. It also affects the chronically ill. Just to put this into perspective about what tonal noise does, it actually uses the military as a torture technique. This is something that data centers do create. However, when you do put a total noise ordinance into your noise ordinance, it actually does not discriminate against anybody. It just discriminates against the noise. So therefore, if a data center wants to go there, that's fine, but they have to be in compliance with a total noise ordinance. And I just want to give you an example of what that looks like. So it's a distinct pitch, hum, or whine, as opposed to a broadband, which is a white noise, wind, or swishing. It does have human reaction. It's highly annoying and high annoyance, where a broadband is less intrusive and is easier to ignore. So a tonal noise is anything that we can hear beyond background noise. And also, we can also zone as industrial, and I know nobody is for this, but if it is an Amazon distribution facility wanted to go there, that would be completely fine, because they wouldn't be in compliance with the total noise ordinance. And if a data center wanted to go there, that's fine, but they have to obviously make their fans and everything else within that ordinance. But actually, just to update the ordinance to noise that we feel, not necessarily hear, because in total noise ordinance, it's something that humans actually feel as well as animals as well. So maybe just focus on that as a whole.
Thank you.
Michelle Driswick, Lenox Township. First off, I'd like to apologize to all of you because I have a tendency to be a bitch, especially when my life is going to be affected seriously. You guys were thrown under the bus last week. Big time, and you got run over and squished. What the board did was wrong. Apparently there are some people that are on a deadline to get something done a lot sooner than what the residents and you guys are doing. They want it done tomorrow, and we're not ready yet. You guys aren't ready yet. There are a couple things that I noticed in the old last month's draft ordinance that I wanted to bring up that I didn't see. First one would be that I noticed that there was a notation that the facility, a data center, would be inspected annually, which is BS. You need to check them out like the state of Michigan checks out, or OSHA checks out, or whatever. Whenever they decide to come in, it's not a scheduled event. You just need to go in and do it, and it needs to be done on a monthly basis, not once a year. There's a lot of stuff that can go on in a year. You do it monthly as a surprise visit, they're going to be holding up their end of the bargain. Also, I don't see anything about fines. And data centers are built by really big companies that have a whole hell of a lot of money. Those fines for breaking the ordinances needs to be extremely significant so that they don't do it in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Scott Doddich, 32888 30 Mile Road, Lenox. You guys wanted to know how long they've known about data centers. You should ask Mr. Grabow or Anthony Reeder what they were talking about on January 21st and January 14th with Calvic Group and Spartan Reg. They've been talking to people about language for the ordinance. I have a copy of an email here that says this letter is to formally state that Lenox Township is supportive of the proposed data center development. And that was sent to Mark Grabow and Anthony Reeder. Maybe you should ask them. Have them be honest, but they may not because they may both sign NDAs regarding everything in that district. Thank you.
Thank you.
You hear that? Break those NDAs, guys, seriously.
Is there such a thing?
Is that an NDA? You can't talk about
Yeah, you can't say shit. You can't say it. Smile some more, Mark.
The microphone's not on, sorry. Can you, yep.
Got it, lit up, okay. My name is Jennifer Slocum. We're building at 28689 28 Mile Road. I agree with some of the people here who talked about how we can't just say no to data centers. We need to prepare the restrictions. Specifically, I'm in favor of them having to use city water rather than wells. My husband was in the military for 35 years when he retired as the commander at Selfridge. And so we lived in a lot of different states. One thing I know, I lived in Calvert County, Maryland for 5 years, and that county had no big box stores, not a single big box stores. There were 2 Walmarts, but their size was determined by the septic system. So they could only be big enough for the septic system to support it. So the county did not limit what stores could come in. They limited, these are the rules, this is how big it can be based on how big the septic system would have to be. There was no city sewage. I also lived in Tucson, Arizona for 13 years, and there were cities that Target could not have a red sign. It had to be beige, and it had to be all matching to the mountains. So my point is that we can write restrictions that doesn't discriminate against any other manufacturer. For example, I've heard bandied about that they want 1,500 acres. What is the largest company or manufacturer that you would allow that's not a data center? Would you allow a 1,500 acre facility? Amazon, company that builds cars. I can't think of one off the hand, but let them build a data center, but make it small. Make a couple data centers. I'm just saying, like, if you make it, it has to be 40 acres. It has to be 10 acres. It has to be 5 acres.
Get away from me right now. Get away from me right now.
Hey, everybody, please.
I also would like to, I ask you, the planning board, aren't there some national standards? Not that you guys aren't smart, but I know this is not your day job. So aren't there experts who specialize in writing ordinances? I mean, there've been enough data centers that have been proposed, some that were defeated, where they backed out because it wouldn't work for them. Is there someone we as in you, could contact?
To help you write these. I don't expect you guys to figure it out. I don't think any of us do.
Thank you. My name is Joe Marino, 28 Mile Road. First thing I'd like to say is I meant no disrespect to this commission by not agreeing to an additional 4 months. Okay? Excuse me, let me speak. Let me finish what I'm about to say. I meant no disrespect to this commission. The only thing that I wanted to see is that we were 3 months into a 4-month moratorium, and we had a month left, and I knew we were making good progress, and I did not want to see that progress stop. Okay, that's the first thing. The next thing is, and I hope the planner brings this across to you, the difference between a municipality that has an ordinance and one that doesn't, and what the ramifications could be for one that doesn't have a ordinance in place. Nobody has ever asked me what my position is on data centers. And if anybody does want to know, let's schedule some time. I'll be willing to talk to anybody. Let's make an appointment. Guys, right now is not the time to do it. This is not the time. This is a business meeting, okay? To bring across my points, it will take time. And I have to sit down with you and talk to you. And I will if you want, at any time. Ordinances protect the health, safety, and welfare of our community. This is what they're for.
okay? Some very good points were brought across today as far as fines, as far as water contamination, as far as water usage, and as far as well usage. I have looked over this document, and I will tell you a lot of it is in there already. Okay? This document's not finished though. It's a work in progress. Okay? And if it does need more time, we have the ability, because we were only 3 months into a moratorium, which the board has a meeting on the 1st. The moratorium is up on the 2nd. So, the next meeting, we could add to that if we feel necessary. If it is necessary, hopefully we will be able to work out our ordinances, because our ordinances are the only way. Our ordinances are the only way that we can protect the health, safety, and welfare of the community. That's it. Thank you.
Who decides when it's done? Who decides when it's done?
Yeah, who decides when the ordinance is complete?
It's a full board. It's a vote of board, yes. Absolutely, I will vote on it. Well, no, I will vote on it. I will not tell you.
Is there anybody else that'd like to get up and speak?
You pledged to approve it. You said yes.
My name is Lucy Chabot. I first want to say I'm glad he came up and explained to us how he didn't want to stop the progress of this thing that is being shoved down our throats. I don't understand that thought, and I don't understand how anybody could think that taking a little extra time for the safety of your citizens is stopping progress. This is my opinion only, but when somebody says something like that, I don't know if he has skin in the game or not, but the bottom line is he doesn't have our best interests at heart if he doesn't want to stop.
Is there a way to turn the heat up a little bit for everybody? I don't know who can control that or not.
In a perfect world, how much time would you like to have to do your job? Because the way we know you can do your job, how much time would you actually like if in the perfect world if you had that opportunity? Because we value what you guys are saying.
Honestly, since this has gotten turned up, like I said, I've done a lot of research and compared this to other ordinances and, other ones locally, just in the state of Michigan, against Michigan code. And right now, to date, our ordinance is now becoming one of the stricter and one of the larger ones compared to a lot of them. So I can't say a set time. I think it really just determines on what we can agree on and what we think is necessary. Like I said again, in my years of doing this, we have not had an ordinance take more than 2 meetings, 3 at most. So I would say, where we're at is already longer than anything we've done. So we are taking our time and taking it seriously. But I can't say 6 months. It's really just a matter of getting an agreement up here that we feel comfortable. I can't say a time frame because it's the amount of effort and research and comfortability that we feel is that decision. Is there anybody else that would like to approach the podium?
Is the township lawyer present? Is he here?
No.
No? Oh.
He doesn't normally come to the planning meetings.
I was going to say that we should formally ask him as well if the board members who do own property within the 984 Development District do have to recuse themselves from voting on what they would have to recuse themselves on voting for. So that's another very important ethical concern.
So to speak on that, my assessment of those statements made in the Board of Trustees meeting, at that time, as Trustee Marino stated, they were simply answering and addressing the item on the agenda that we recommended for the extension of the moratorium. So whether or not you have property, you've made a deal, you've done anything, that item was strictly for the extension. So I do not disagree that they didn't need to recuse themselves from that conversation. Now, if we have an application here and we are reviewing a data center and it goes to them and that is to be built on and all of that, at that point, I think and I would expect them to recuse themselves. So to clear that up, that is my interpretation of what the lawyer was trying to say. So I'm pretty sure that if or when this comes, those gentlemen would not be up there. But again, I'm not a lawyer. That's my interpretation, just what I have gathered from all the information.
One thing I'd like to say is that if we do follow parts of this ordinance, the Marino family investment property cannot be a data center. And quite frankly, I would never allow it.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you.
Anybody else, or do we want to get into the meat and potatoes here? All right. We're going to move into unfinished business, 5A, the I-94 Development District Draft Ordinance. So we are reviewing that document, whether we like it or not. Again, I think everybody understands having an ordinance is better than not having an ordinance. We need to get something in to have some layer of protection. It can always be amended, as everybody here is voting for this master plan review, so we have to logically look at this, that we can get something in, and we can always amend it, address it, and modify it. But again, having nothing, it's a lot worse. So,
Can you put the amending, can you put a clause in that says you can go and amend it at necessary?
we can amend ordinances. The master plan is a little more tricky because it does involve multiple communities, but we can amend ordinances and create ordinances. That will not be an issue.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so anybody on the board? I know we've mainly been focusing on the data center ordinance since that's much larger. Is there anything specific? I know I have read this line by line. Do I need to do that?
I'd like to see a line.
Okay, can you turn your microphone on, please?
Oh, sorry. I guess it's because you don't see a little green thing.
Yeah, you got to look
around. Can we put a start date of this ordinance to not, this district does not get activated until after we have reviewed our master plan again? That nothing in this district can happen whatsoever from this ordinance until we have looked at the master plan again.
So my understanding is that because the master plan shows that as the land use, theoretically, if we did not move forward with this, they could not only go to the I-94 district, they could go anywhere. They could zone wherever they want. So by defining it and restricting it to an area minimizes the impact of it being in, I don't want to say other people's backyards, I'm not picking whose backyard, but essentially you're opening it up to more areas if you don't have it defined. And then I understand we want to further define it, but.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that that part of the ordinance is that we're reopening our master plan, and that's happening now at the time that we're creating the ordinance. And that the ordinance doesn't go into effect until the master plan has been looked at and completed again. And that's part of the ordinance. We're just saying you can't do that district, you can't be in that district, you can't do anything in it until the master plan has been reviewed. I mean, that's what we're saying. It's not.
Yeah.
It wasn't done thoroughly.
So my concern with you putting a date on it is it basically says that we don't have an ordinance. And then that they can just come in and build.
No, we have an ordinance that they can't build, they can't do anything.
No, we don't.
No,
If you put a date.
no, not if you
No,
put a date on
no
it.
date. I'm saying that it can't happen until after, I don't know what date it is, till after we complete.
But I mean,
But that's my concern, is that if you say, well, you can't do this until after our master plan's been revised, then we basically don't have an ordinance for it.
Yeah, because.
So then they can come in and do whatever they want.
Like 6 months, right?
And this is right in front of us right now, and if we do get down the route of the master plan open up, I mean, that could take 6 months or a year.
I'm sure they're gonna do everything they
But
can to stop
at
it.
least this protects us from them just being able to come in and do whatever they want.
If we don't put that in there, then we're endorsing that you just come in. Because two yahoos put it out there that we wanted a data center. And put this in their master plan long before it came up to us that there was a data center coming to, or anything else, because it's all a farce. No big box store, they're not putting a Best Buy back there.
But I guess the thing that I would state is, we've got an I-94 development district ordinance here. This, you have to separate the data center in motion, because this is data center. This is just corridor, this is Amazon, this is Costco, this is all this, which, again, we're saying we would be open to the possibility of getting more commercial industrial in the township. And I understand that there's concern and there's a lot of things pointing towards a data center, but what if we get the 94 district in and this soon-to-be 20-page document is too restrictive for a data center, that they decide they're going to look elsewhere, and then we do get other commercial or valuable businesses in the I-94 district. This is not saying this is for data centers.
No, I agree.
So I just don't think, because I mean, this, by essentially stopping this, you're stopping other people. And we're saying 1,500 acre data center. That doesn't mean that it's going to take up that entire area that it's going to take up. This could be 3 different entities or businesses all looking to get this recently allowable land, and they're going to build, you know, a complex. I mean, like in Miami, when I lived down there, they had all the businesses, industrial, you drove through there, and then they had the housing pocketed in other areas, as opposed to Chesterfield, you have a business or something on every street, side streets, down Gratiot, and then you have random houses in there. So we're trying to eliminate everybody popping up in pockets. So I mean, this essentially stops all forward progress for any kind of development of the master plan. So I personally, I don't think pushing this off indefinitely is the right move, because now not only are you going to fight data centers, you'd be fighting anybody that wants to bring in that kind of business to Lenox Township.
Again, we have that property available in Lenox Township already to build a Costco or a Best Buy or an insurance office or whatever. We have all those things laying over there that nobody's renting, nobody's building. So why open up an entire area and disrupt an entire community for something, because some speculator's going to buy it up and then bulldoze it just like I-94 and all road. It's been sitting empty for how long? 12, 13 years? It was supposed to be a Partridge Creek and this and that. It's all going to be so rosy. That's what this district is trying to say. But that's not real life. Someone's going to buy it up for sure. They're going to bulldoze it and make it a mess. And then when? It could be 25 years from now before Costco decides to put a Costco there. But even if they did, nobody wants it there. It's an agricultural area. People have farms there. People live there. Nobody wants it there, and everybody loved it over there on the other side of I-94. I never heard a complaint about, you know, making a commercial district over there, because it doesn't affect everybody's home.
But that's,
So I'm saying that we're putting this ordinance in effect, it's gonna have all the teeth that we want it to have, but if it gets overturned within the master plan, this ordinance says that that can't happen until the master plan has been looked at and thoroughly reviewed again.
I don't think you can make an ordinance dictate the master plan. That's the problem. So I understand the
Why we
intent.
need an attorney?
Yeah, I understand the intent, but this draft is, right now, this is essentially nothing until it's gone in. So, I guess, so is there anything, I know you're just completely against it, but is there anything we can add or change? Commissioner Rossi?
May I? Thank you. I'll address Commissioner Dave with this. So, by our master plan, and I did bring this up at a previous meeting as well, regulations governing in this area should promote mixed-use development, eliminate blighted or underutilized properties, incorporate innovative planning practices, ensure safe and well-integrated vehicular and pedestrian circulation systems, improve environmental quality, remediate degraded sites, and provide an attractive and compatible transition between residential and non-residential areas. Now, we all have opinions, but I don't really think that is a data center. But as I say that, when I look at this, our ordinance for this district, it reiterates the same message, which is office research and professional service usage, light industrial, make sure I have the right stuff, light industrial warehouse and logistics, distribution facilities, advancing manufacturing, assembly operations, hotels, conferences, facilities, lodging, commercial services, retail, intended primarily to serve employees, travelers, nearby development, mixed-use developments alone, incorporating 2 or more permitted uses within a coordinated site plan. So my question to Dave is, can we limit the amount of space that a business consumes within this district, because it goes against our master plan in that it is a mixed-use district, not a one-use district, or put that it can only consume a certain percent so that these other things aren't, in essence, pushed out by the consumption of just one unit. So a hotel or a business can't come in if there's no place to come in.
You can put certain spacing requirements. I've never heard anybody put a percentage on it. It's hard to quantify that. You look at different properties or different sizes. You want to space things out, that's a possibility. The cost of that, if someone comes in and doesn't meet your ordinance, neat and clean, that limits the planning commission any ability to adjust. At that point, someone tends to go away if they can't meet a strict dimension or a strict spacing.
I mean, I guess I wonder how we call it a mixed-use development with, I mean, the potential of one use consuming it. So, is there anything that we can do to maintain that, the message from the master plan? So when I first became aware of this, my understanding was this was supposed to be like a corridor, like business access from 94 up to 27 and stuff. And I think that the intent at that time was that be what it is, restaurants, dining, maybe, business office, stuff like that. So now it seems more potentially that it doesn't, it could be potentially consumed by one entity when our master plan and this ordinance both say that it should be more of a mixed usage.
Yeah, I think another way that might meet what you want is you can put some more stricter design standards within this ordinance itself. A certain use has to front a major road, so it can't go back further or get pushed back. Certain uses have to be mixed together.
Right.
You can't, you don't want an industrial in the middle of a housing development or something.
Right.
You can put proximity, so I'm going to suggest, when I do it, put design standards in that have a little bit more locational, rather than broad percentages.
Okay, so we'll just use the Amazon warehouse. So if an Amazon warehouse was to come here, does it potentially fit in here? And is there enough here that we could say, well, we don't want you to take up the entire district? Because that is not the intent of this district.
Well, based on your ordinance that you have in front of me, yes, it could come in, it'd be underneath a special land use, so it have to go through some more stringent standard review standards. It does just reference schedule regulations or general setbacks and things like that. So if I understand where you're coming from, yes, it could go in there without locational standards, that you have to be near the interchange or something like that. It could go anywhere, but you could put some restrictions on the types of uses where they could go.
Can we put restrictions on size?
I'd have to take a look at that.
From what I've read, you cannot dictate a size.
So I see that, but yes. However, then how is this then a mixed district?
So, I mean, again, I guess what I want to reiterate is we need to look at these as they are isolated things, because if this data center was not proposed in front of us, we would just be assuming that it is still what it is written to intend, and it could be multiple businesses, it could be restaurants, it could be hotels, and that's what we need to look at, and we can't, unfortunately, be biased from this. And I'll make the comparison to Chesterfield. Cabela's bought all that property along 94. That doesn't mean they built a Cabela's that spans 2 miles of 94. Now, trust me, I'd love it if they did. I mean, it'd have everything I ever needed in it, but they're trying to lease that land out. They're trying to build other businesses, and they're wanting to play landlord, is my assumption. So just because we're hearing a developer could potentially, or developers, I don't know.
Could be any developer.
Right, are trying to buy the property, but they can buy the property and then they just are the landlord. So you could get a data center the size of the township, and we get berms and it's isolated and it's in the back, and maybe we can restrict it to the point where it's not a hindrance, and then they build some manufacturing or they put some hotels or some restaurants. That doesn't mean that those things still can't go there if one developer were indeed to buy the land. And I don't think the intent for us is to have a 1,500 acre data center, because with setbacks of the residents and their properties, there's no way they can build a data center that big. And I did look at the ones in Ohio when we were looking at going there to see what potentially we were going to see. And there were construction companies that had addresses on those sites, and some of them could have been from building, but there were other addresses on that property of other businesses that were on the parcel. And they actually surrounded it, which I assume was to help with the noise buffering as well.
Are you going to close down 27 and 28 mile road, or is it still going to be access?
I mean, we can't speculate any roads or I mean, I can't imagine closing roads.
How far off the property lines are they going to have to be? Can they develop right up to the property line?
Once we get, and again, that's why we're only talking for this one district, and then we're going to get into the data centers and the specifics of if a data center were to come, what their restrictions would be.
Question.
Well, we'll do one more because we have to make progress on this.
Cabela's doesn't use $30 million of water. And hotels and movie theaters and restaurants don't use oodles and oodles and oodles of obnoxious amounts of electricity and that need their own special infrastructure. You know, I mean, is that something that you guys are thinking about when you have to do this ordinance?
Yeah, I mean, all that's going to be in the next ordinance that we discussed. Like I said, this is strictly just for the district of the 94. And that's why I know it's so easy to combine them, and one does go with the other, but as far as for the township, our due diligence is to look at this as an isolated thing. And I know that's difficult, but as our positions up here, that's what we have to do.
The 27 and 28 mile road throughways be part of this I-94 district?
there any way that you can stipulate that those roads remain accessible from Gratiot to county line? Because they are right now. Not that I drive them regularly, but you know, I could.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, for this ordinance, there's no roads affected, closed, added, subtracted, anything like
I was
that.
just wondering, I didn't know whether or not.
So,
No, they're county roads, so that's the county's decision. to
So
close
is-
them.
is there
We can't
any-
just close them.
is there anything in here, I mean, that we feel we could look at, modify? I mean, anybody from the board that's reviewed this? I mean, we haven't really added much to this one.
Well, the next ordinance, we're gonna talk about the data centers, but in there, we were leaving open a lot of different areas to put a data center. I'd like to see data centers only in heavy industrial districts. And I'd like to exclude heavy industrial districts from the I-94 corridor.
It would turn into River Rouge.
So I just have a question for you, Rob. If you think that that's the plan, then if we put that, that's being really like saying they can't go there. So then where do you think they're gonna go? Then they'll force it on going next to you or somewhere where there's a well, because that's the only corridor that has fresh water and or city water and can tap into the sewer. So if you say that nothing can go in that area that is a data center, and I'm not saying one way or another, but I'm just saying, if you stipulate that that cannot go in the I-94 district, then it could force it on 30 Mile Road next to her house and next to their house, because you're saying it can't go right there. But we can push it farther down the road to 30 Mile Road, 31 or 32, where it will be well water. Because city water municipal sewer is all the way down, but water is only available from 26 to 29.
That will only happen if they kind of comply with the ordinances that you implement. And so like
So
Danielle said, the tonal, and I wanted to find, when she was speaking, it sounded like she was saying total, but the tonal noise, T-O-N-A-L, no data center can comply with a tonal ordinance. So as we talk about all these other issues, I think we should really focus on the ordinance implementing tonal noise, because you don't have that in here.
So, and just so everybody knows, we didn't read through this line by line, but we amended this already for special land uses permitted in the development. Heavy industrial uses with potential offsite impacts, large-scale utility or energy infrastructure facilities, other uses determined by the planning commission. So we already modified this to take it out of the industrial and out of the, all of them that was it. It's now a special land use only, which is on par with every other ordinance in Michigan.
With a heavy industrial.
Special land use.
This will be a heavy
Only
industrial.
special land use. We have to approve it as special land use.
But it would be a heavy industrial property when they got rezoned. And then it would get to special land use. We're not gonna special land use it and call it residential. It's gonna fall under a heavy industrial.
If it's in the I-94 district, this district would be the only applicable places they could apply. And then they would say, okay, now we have to meet all of this ordinance, plus it has to be a special land use. And if we can legally and morally show that they are not meeting the special land use in the ordinances, then they cannot build. So we've already limited it to a district, to an area, and then now we're saying it has to be special land use, and we're putting 20 additional pages of restrictions on top of it. So, you know, we have defined it, we have removed it from most of the areas already. And I think everybody, you know, was glad we did that.
But we do have heavy industrial. The corner of Roselle and 26 Mile Road is a heavy industrial area. Is it 15,000 acres? No.
They'd be too close to residential. That's why we're trying to say this is in the I-94 district. So I guess, again, we keep getting into data centers and we keep bringing up other things, but is there anything we need to add or delete?
I don't want the Ford Rouge plant there either.
For the district?
I don't want heavy industrial inside that district. If the point is to bring jobs that are in retail, then why would I want a big huge factory in the middle of that?
You have to at least have an option, otherwise it's exclusionary zoning, and again, they can go and apply to go anywhere. Just like the guy that tried to come in recently on 27 and Workman on Deer Creek. We were able to stop that because it was deemed as agricultural in the master plan, and it was too close to a creek, water, contamination, flood zones, and residential houses. And we were able to stand on that. But right now, without this district, they could force their way into any one of those areas. And that's the scary thing to me, is the fact that everybody in here understands that somebody is trying to come, but yet we want to stop progress and essentially just let it happen. I mean, we have to make forward progress here.
Isn't New Haven the agricultural map? My ordinance is agricultural.
So is there, again, I guess, do we have anything, or can we make a motion? Because, I mean, we have been here an hour and a half, and we haven't even got through the 2-page yet. So,
Can I ask Dave one more question?
Sure.
If you're not a large-scale utility, what's your next step down?
On a large scale,
You have, for special land use permitted in the 94 development district, large-scale utility or energy infrastructure facilities. So I assume that's where these types of businesses would go. Is there a way to, do we have to offer a place for large scale, or can we bring it down to the next size?
I could look into seeing if there's gradations down, if they have those steps. I know with battery storage systems, there's a gradation that they look down.
Okay, thank you.
and I just want to make it clear to the board here tonight, I mean, if we get through this and we make a public hearing I think is a minimum of 14 or 15 days. So we do have the meeting next week to, again, make more changes. We'll have a whole other week to look at it and to assess this. The planner can answer these questions. This meeting is intended to be a workshop, to be productive, and to try to make this as ironclad as we can. But we do have one more meeting. That's why I didn't want to wait till next week, and then that's fine. So, you know, we're getting two more opportunities here to do research and to get these questions out. But I do want to make sure we get through all of this so the planner can make the updates so we can review a final copy. Because, I mean, we're saying a lot of things and we're agreeing, but if we're not implementing or moving, we're essentially doing nothing, unfortunately. So, I guess from the board, is there any other comments or additions to make on this document? And if not, I'd be looking for a motion.
To set the public hearing?
Yes.
Michelle, can we get a time frame on what you need for a date for a public hearing? For posting time, is it?
It has to be it must be published for 15 days before the hearing date, so 15 days from today.
Would be the 27th. So we'd have the 28th or 29th to give the township at least a day to process and do the paperwork. So I mean, essentially, to get it in time for the board on the 1st, I think we'd have to shoot for the 29th of Friday or the 28th at the earliest of the Thursday.
Can you get it processed by Macomb Daily by then?
I would say the 28th would probably be good, because the other thing is she's going to have so much time to add it to the agenda for the June 1st meeting.
Yes.
So I think the 29th will be, too late. Yeah, and then we're closed, so, I would say Thursday, because then she could add it to the agenda early Friday morning.
I can't do any Thursdays.
Fast track this baby.
Okay, hold on.
So we could have this thing ready for board approval on June 1st.
That would be great.
Wouldn't that be great?
That would be great. Throw them under the bus, give them a little bit of notice.
27th.
Well, they're going to approve whatever it is.
Wednesday? Can you do Wednesday? No.
I can do the Friday.
I mean, but that doesn't give us 15 days. I mean, 15 days, that's tomorrow, and this isn't going to get posted until tomorrow. So Thursday is the earliest we could do it, or the Friday. 15 days puts us at Wednesday if it was published today, and it's closed of business today. So
I feel,
I would either that or, you can't do Thursdays at all?
spending Friday with you people, I'm sorry.
I mean, is there a reason that, I mean, obviously, would it even get on the board?
If we did it Thursday, she's stating that we could hold our meeting on Thursday, and then they could get it on the agenda, release it Friday, and that allows enough time for their meeting on Monday. I mean, that's where we're at with the information we were given last week. This is the time frame we're here, we're up against, and we're short one board member already because of restrictions. I mean, I get we want everybody here, but if we don't do it, we could essentially lose any progress we've made. So we can have 3 months worth of nothing at this point, or we can at least go in and make a valid attempt to get something in place.
Because of a blackmail motion from the board, we're trying to push this thing to June 1st. Say they let us have an attorney at that point. They're going to approve the ordinance without an attorney that specializes in these things actually looking at these things.
Just for the sake of setting a public hearing is just a process. We do not have to approve anything the night.
Oh, we'll approve it at that meeting, don't worry.
Well, we don't have to, is all I'm saying.
We don't have to.
But we do.
We're not going to get any
get the
additional
process.
help on this.
I'll say my biggest concern is, and it has been stated, and you know, while I sit up here, I don't like it. Okay, I've made it very clear. I don't like it. I don't believe we've kicked any cans up here. We were handed a 3-page ordinance twice, and we finally got a 15-page ordinance, and we didn't get a moratorium extension. So we're looking at a date of June 2nd where a moratorium is going to die.
Well, they better stop it then. Otherwise,
But if they
But
don't.
we can't control this. We can only
Right.
control what is here,
Right.
guys.
So
no,
what
these people out here can control it.
So what I'm looking at is like, we can always change ordinances. Okay, we can pass this and change it.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
exactly, and that's exactly what she just said with the grandfather.
But if
We
they move
approved that
in-
ordinance, they have those permits are gonna be here on the 2nd. You can guarantee that the permits will be here on the
I
2nd.
don't disagree with you, but if they're here, we're screwed. So,
If we
Well,
don't have
I
anything in
think
place.
Mr. Marino just said tonight that he's not for this thing. So I think he wants to kick our ass and push us along. I could be wrong, but I think that's what you did. You want to kick us in here. I don't think he said, no, I'm not going to do an extension. I want you to do it right, but I want you to move it along. I could be wrong if that was your intention. So I don't think they...
Okay. All right. So again, I mean,
So why are we trying to push it when he is open to an extension? He just wants us to be, he wanted this meeting.
So
He wanted us
here's
to
the.
keep moving along in this process. I'm fine with that.
We're trying to move forward and make progress, and if we do what the board asks, which we're here tonight, we're here next week, we're doing our due diligence. Sitting here bickering and saying the same things over and over again is not working on the documents why I call this meeting. We have another meeting next week to again go through this, and then we have the public hearing to yet again go through this, and then the board makes their decision. And we can make a recommendation again, because I think the problem too was, we made a recommendation to extend it for 8 months. We had an option for a 4-month extension, and we, as the board, did not just ask for that, we asked for 8. And they said, you already have one in place. There is an option, if we meet the requirements, to extend it. But yet, because of opinions up here, we all collectively made the decision to ask for more, and they denied it. But if we are showing faith and working on this and put together a good ordinance, and we move forward with it and say, hey, with the public hearing, we need to do it, and then if the board approves it on the 1st, it needs to be posted for 30 days before it even goes into effect. And we can recommend that they allow the extension for the due process of the legalities of time to get this in place. But if they don't, all bets are off and we've wasted all of our time. So again, I mean, we aren't saying we can't get an extension of more time, but if we just sit here and say, we're not doing it until we get it, then we're doing exactly what we say we're not doing, kicking the can.
Respectfully.
If we do it the way we're talking,
I'll go.
and it's available to be approved at the June 1st board of trustee meeting, we're asking for an attorney, and we're asking for an environmentalist to look at what's going on here. Because again, nobody knows really the total impacts here without.
Right, so if we do nothing and we wait, we're gonna get it anyways, we're not gonna get an environmentalist, we're not gonna get an attorney, we're probably gonna have potential lawsuits, and this is gonna get even uglier, where if we do this and the board does approve or allows us to get these people, we can amend and we can dictate that at that time. But again, by saying nothing, you're essentially saying everything you want. And this meeting was strictly called to work on these documents. And instead, we're adding to it, we're muddying the waters, and we're not making forward progress.
Let's make a motion and get it over with, because I'm history on this here. So you're right, this is a waste of time. Let's keep going.
Okay, respectfully, I will say just in relationship to us asking for 8 months, or an 8-month extension, they could have gone at 4. They could have turned it on and gave us 4. And they said, you know what, we're not giving you 8, but we already have this on the books, we could have gave you 4. And they didn't. So for that, I digress at this time. I will make a motion to set a public hearing for the I-94 Development District ordinance. Does it have a number? Does it require a number at this time?
I think it's just sections like 719.58.
Okay, and would the preference be for Thursday or Friday?
I would say as early as the 28th, and I guess we can talk to everyone and the clerk and set the final date.
That is a very tight, that is almost exactly 15 days, so that means it has to get in the Macomb Daily tomorrow.
Right.
But they're gonna publish it in the morning.
Is it gonna get published? Like,
The paper's
okay,
gonna
Michelle,
publish
is
at
that-
4 o'clock in the morning, yeah.
I'm asking Michelle, is that doable? Like, is that that's the 16th day? Is how much
Yeah, if it went
time
out
does
tomorrow.
Macomb Daily need to get that posted? I assume Macomb Daily is where you go. I mean, it's really tight. If we set this public hearing and they don't get it in for 2 days, we're done. So do we want to do the 29th as a buffer, or I'm asking you as the person who's gonna have to do it?
I'm asking the deputy, because she
Okay.
was the news people want an idea. She's responding.
Thank you. And if that's not the case, I would like to make a suggestion. Can I ask what time the board meets on the Monday?
6:30.
Can we do the public hearing prior to that?
That's on the same day.
I mean, if she can't get in on time, she can't get in on time, so.
But I mean, right now, I think we can get it in on if we said the 29th, I think there's a 100% chance. If it's the 28th, I would say it's probably about a 70% chance.
Yeah, I'll wait and see what Macomb's handling time is on that.
Well, while we're waiting for that, you want to get into the next item?
I would rather not.
No, we have to get through this. So,
Can't you just email the article to Macomb Daily via email tonight?
They gotta publish it in the paper.
Right.
But don't they have an email address to do that? Or do you have to call them?
so public
You gotta
hearings.
pay for it.
There is a handling time that Macomb Daily will say, okay, we can give it to you and we can publish this in 2 days. Usually digitally, we can do it really quick, but it will be whatever,
It's not gonna hit the paper.
no, it'll probably be online.
It doesn't state.
It could go online immediately and then hit the paper later.
But it won't go online. There's nobody there. So,
But I think as long as we have it posted as the township, it's posted, it's public data, this video comes out, it's on the website, So I think if the township posts it, if it's a day or two behind the Macomb Daily, our bylaws do not say the Macomb Daily has to have it posted 15 days. It's the township has to have it posted.
Okay.
So we are the township. The bylaws don't dictate Macomb Daily as everybody's source because not everybody here reads that season. Not everyone reads your seasonal Lenox post either, but that would be the avenue to see it. So again, the way I've been told to understand it, if we do it in this meeting, hence why today was picked, it's not that I wanted to be here on a Tuesday. That allows us the chance to get this done.
Okay, but I will still respectfully research the clerk as it is hers.
So I guess, can we schedule for either the 28th or 29th based on the findings of tomorrow with the posting details? Is that how we want to make the motion?
I'm good, I do want to wait for feedback from her though. I don't want to put her in a position where it doesn't.
Well, and again, though, we can make the motion and she can come back and say, hey, it's not going to work, and we can reschedule then our Monday meeting. I mean, we're going to be back here in 6 days.
But then that's 15 days from Monday.
Well, but that's,
I'd
I mean,
rather,
that's
yeah.
kind of my point. I mean, if we're saying it's not going to happen either way, I mean.
Okay, she said that, the 29th would be the absolute earliest. The absolute earliest.
All right, is everybody good with the 29th? And are we confident with that, the 29th?
It's a Friday.
I don't know when you know. Whatever. Why not?
Me on that counts, but I'm gonna make an effort to.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for the district for Friday, May 29th.
For the I-94 development district.
What time would you like? 6?
I would say a little earlier is better, right? Instead of wait till 6:30.
6 p.m.
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Rodzik, support by Commissioner Olu. Can I get a roll call, please?
Rodzik?
Yes.
Jabour?
Yes.
Gurley? Yes. Pennell?
No.
Miller?
Yes.
Sutton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're moving into 5B, the data center draft ordinance discussion. So I think this one is going to require us to go through. And I sent an email out earlier, I'm not sure if everyone got a chance to review it, but again, I think compared to other ordinances, basically what I found is, I have a little graphic, as far as compared to other areas like Saline who didn't have an ordinance, other places that have had exclusionary zoning clauses, you know, that they've been accused of not allowing, getting too strict. Kind of the consensus is our zoning structure, we're basically aligned with other ordinances. I know everyone asked if we do research, if we're looking. I think everybody at this point understands we are. The setbacks and the buffers, we're actually on the stricter side already with the 1,300 feet. The data that backs up most ordinances, and obviously a data center is not most businesses, most things, but typical legal language that would get brought up in court is 200 to 500 feet on bigger items from property lines. And then 500 to 1,000 separation from residential uses for more industrial. So us having the 1,320 feet from residential and a 400 setback from property lines actually exceeds most ordinances out there. So we can't necessarily, you know, dictate a mile if that's, you know, 10 times the average of other ordinances.
They will bulldoze right up to the property line, or are they gonna leave some woods here for us to enjoy?
So that would be part of the ordinance for the trees and the boundaries, and with their berms, and it would have to be, they have, like, just like when we do a business, you have to do the traffic check for fire trucks. They have to do models and demonstrations so they can get in, they can get out, the water coming in, like the the lake that we talk about, where it's discharged to, floodplains, the berm. So I would assume berms would be closer to the property lines to stop the noise from extending past their property. So, I mean, it's hard to say, right? Again, we're speculating a business in one, but I mean, that would come into the area, which I forget what it is here. Where the trees are. So, I guess we will get to all the specifics here, but just want to let everybody know. So, the noise and air, we are slightly more detailed. So again, we've done a pretty good job so far. The water controls and the energy mandates, we are slightly at risk of the way things are worded. So we definitely need to just make sure that we make everything clear. And then, you know, for everything else, we're pretty much in line. So I think...
Trees and wildlife, so. I mean, you're knocking down 400 feet on the property line. That's kind of horseshit.
So, Ms. Turchi was not able to come today, but she did provide me feedback. On page 3, and this might already be taken care of, but there was a spelling error of cooling. There's a couple instances of that, Dave, and maybe they've been fixed. It said cowling instead of cooling. Page 3, number 2. So cowling, right there in the middle instead of cooling. So you may just want to search cowling and then fix all the cooling. That came across a few times. We do have also no mention of city water and sewer in this revision, which the public has stated, and the board did have that in the last one. So we definitely would like to put that stipulation in. And then the other item of concern is, it says in here, I didn't write down the page, but if anyone else can point me to it, somewhere, oh yeah, right here. Page 4, E, dimensional standards, it says maximum building height, 45 feet or 3 stories. And Mr. White was not able to make it today. But I believe the understanding is for the hospitals and anything over 3 stories, Lenox Township is not suited for that. So we have to have an agreement with Chesterfield if there is an event of evacuation, fire. So I think that needs to be contingent upon Chesterfield and other municipality coordination, because as the township is right now, we can't protect those buildings without Chesterfield's help or another surrounding area. So I do think that is something valid we need to make sure, because if something were to happen here and our township doesn't have the capacity to take care of it, that's a huge problem. So whatever we got to do to try to firm that up for the next meeting. And then distance from the prisons, schools, and hospitals. I think everybody agrees we want to consider those as residential. Legally, if that were to come up, I think that is something that we'd be willing to have in there. And if it were fought and determined later outside of our control, that would be an issue, but I think we'd like to make that recommendation, that residential includes prisons, schools, and hospitals.
Is there any churches in this area?
Yeah.
We can add churches to that.
No child care facilities.
Yeah, I think all child care development, all that would fall in the schools, yeah.
I think you do have to make a distinguish between child care, because it's not public, it's usually private.
But if it's private, it would typically be in a residential house, right?
No, lots of commercial business.
Yeah, I guess we can say schools / child care facilities. We can add it. I mean, I'd have to look at the legal definitions, but yeah, we'll put the child care in there.
I just know you can't say you're a school with your child care. Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay. And then page 11, I1. 11, I1, it says 8-foot berms with 30 feet tree spacing. Now, 30 feet is determined for full-grown, mature trees to create a boundary. But I think if we were gonna do this, we don't want them to go up there and plant saplings and wait 30 years for that tree to take effect. So, Mr. Engineer, when we have businesses come in and we dictate landscaping, is there a size of trees? I know we dictate quantity and area, but is there anything about size?
Yeah, the zoning ordinance will have sizes.
Okay.
We could alter that in this data center ordinance, make it a little stricter.
Yeah.
I think we should.
Yeah. Because I think, again, you could say you planted a bunch of trees 30 feet, but if they're only 2 feet, you can say, well, in 20 years, it's gonna stop the sound. So.
Let me take a look at that, because you say you have to move sizes, but I can always alter.
Okay, yeah, I think we should look at or say, you know, a mature tree or a tree that provides value immediately.
And there are different things, how to plant them, to they could stagger them, rather than go in a straight line, that would give some depth,
Yes.
and also provide
Yes.
a little more screening.
I think the screening needs to be immediate, and it needs to show where, once this is built, to get their certificate of occupancy, the decibels are checked, and to do that, you have to have the correct things in place. It can't be, well, it's louder now because the trees haven't grown yet. I mean, again, everyone says these developments would have money. I'm sure they could afford to buy some very nice trees. Yes.
Well, if they keep a hedgerow of existing trees, that will help dampen the noise a lot more.
And I mean, I guess we could say if there's a natural barrier existing that could be utilized
Over and above.
over and above.
It's pretty common that we can allow the planning commission to acquire more intensive landscaping.
Part of the review of the site plan.
They can also look at a combination, if you need a fence or wall in one spot, landscaping and another, you have existing, but leave it up to the commission.
Okay, okay,
So
fair enough.
make sure the neighboring property is fully protected.
Okay, I would say we definitely just look at the size and then maybe just dictate a size and then we can collectively determine the amount and the placement. Okay, thank you, Mr. Planner.
What about like the walls on the expressways that keep the noise down?
It's a possibility. Berms can be dirt, walls, any kind of item. And again, they'd have to provide studies showing how this would stop the noise. Page 12, 5C again, just another cooling discrepancy. Under 5C. So we just gotta look at that. You might have got that one. Yeah, you already got that one correct.
No,
Third line.
Oh, yeah, the second one there, yeah, thank you. So you got Colin, like I said, you spell check that, it'll come right up. And then, page 13, 8A. We have here, locate to minimize visual and nose impacts. We believe that was to be noise. I mean, we don't want to affect our noses either, but I think it was intended for noise. So that was the other spelling correction. So that was everything from Commissioner Turchi that I had. I just wanted to get that out of the way while I had it in front of me. Anybody else want to go through their notes first?
There you go.
Sure.
I'll be a hot minute. Okay, under purpose and intent, could we add ensure compatibility with adjacent land uses and the Lenox Township Master Plan?
Say that again, I'm trying to find it where you're reading.
It's not on there.
She wants to add that statement to the purpose and intent.
So ensure compatibility with adjacent land uses and the Lenox Township Master Plan. Dave, I'll just follow you let me know when to move on. A general question in applicability, we did decide to do special land use versus a PUD. In your opinion, special land uses, PUDs, what are you thinking?
What would be? There are two different types of zoning, special land use falls modify as you see fit.
Right.
Somebody may, you could have this district, somebody may come within the district and apply for PUD within that district.
Okay, what has been the trend or the better workable option?
From a workable option from a planning commission standpoint, getting everything into the direct district and you can just look at it, notice readings and everything like that, seems to be the smoothest. A PUD becomes, in Lenox, it becomes an ordinance change. Yeah,
Okay.
You go through the whole, it's almost like a rezoning, but it's a third step to go back to the planning commission.
Okay, so we'll keep that. So, also in applicability, to add high resources, demand facilities, data center, and data processing center uses, including large scale, small scale, are not permitted as principal use unless approved as a, that goes back to the planned unit development. So, I'm gonna skip that and move on to the next page. For definitions, so high resource demand facility, a principal did we define that? A principal non-residential facility, campus or group buildings under common ownership of control. I don't know if we ever defined it.
It's in the definitions, so how would,
Okay.
What do you specifically, I mean, it's in the definition section here.
Okay,
That's how they define it.
Okay, so then we did the 100,000 gallons per day, correct? Or with 100 gallons per minute. So 100 gallons per minute equated to, we did the 100 gallons per day. That's good. Districts permitted, special land use in the heavy industrial, light industrial, and page 3, I believe, at the bottom. 4. It's on my 3, so I'm sorry for that, but I'll stick with the title. So, districts permitted, D1. High resource demand facility, special land use in the heavy industrial, light industrial, and I-94 development zoning districts only, prohibited elsewhere. I would like to ask that we remove it from both heavy industrial and light industrial.
So they can only build it in I-94 district?
Correct.
Because there's some other properties a little bit further north, there's other areas that they could potentially look at. So that request is to just strictly try to keep it in that district.
Yes.
If they need water, they can build this infrastructure to do it. They take $200-300 million in fines and they don't even bat an eye.
Okay, moving over, same item, large-scale data center, same request to remove from heavy industrial and light industrial. Same with the small scale, to remove from heavy industrial and light industrial, leaving it with the accessory data centers and data processing centers as is. Okay, required engagement steps. So we do not have that. I would like us to have required engagement steps.
Can you clarify?
Applicants shall meet with planning staff prior to submitting an application. Staff shall identify expected engagement topics, impacted stakeholders, and the required contents of the community engagement plans. Community engagement plan would be next. Required with the application, the community engagement plan shall be submitted as part of the application package and must include a project overview, site size, phasing, anticipated construction timeline, draft public information materials, fact sheet, FAQs, engagement schedule and methods, proposed meeting formats and locations, list map of stakeholders and the engagement area, languages and accessibility accommodations, communication channels, project website, email list and hotlines, process for documenting comments and responses, and proposed community benefits package, which I will refer to later. And then the zoning administrator shall determine whether the community engagement plan is complete prior to scheduling any public hearings. Okay.
And where were you looking to add that at?
It would be its own item, followed as,
So
I
put
mean,
it
it would
as
be
E.
like a D,
So put it as E and then move E down to F.
gosh, I don't want to do that. Yeah, just maybe like call it a double, oh gosh, call it a double P right now. So, to put it there, just to keep it in order.
So we'll come after you.
Yeah. Okay, expanding on that, again, with the required engagement steps. Neighborhood meetings mandatory prior to first public hearing. The applicant shall hold at least one neighborhood meeting no fewer than 21 days and no more than 60 days prior to the first public hearing. Notice shall be given to all property owners and addresses if different within 500 feet of the proposed project site. If property is within 500 feet and is part of a subdivision, homeowners or business owners associations or all members of that association shall be notified. Additional neighborhood meetings may be required if there is a significant amendment based upon determination of the zoning administrator to the plan between the planning commission or community board reviews, or the planning commission or community board directs additional engagement due to the public interest. Meeting requirements would be that they are held within a certain place, ADA accessible and available after 5 p.m. on a weekday or a weekend.
Why aren't we making that a mile if the properties
I mean, I'm open.
financially are affected that are in 1 mile of this?
I'm open to expanding the notification, if you'd like to go. What is a reasonable amount though for, what is our standard notification for, I believe it is 500, correct?
Yeah, but to get a mortgage, this man's telling us anything within a mile is gonna affect your mortgage.
So this would be like a public hearing notification, so I believe there's probably already an ordinance in place that qualifies that.
Yes, public notifications and state law is 300 feet.
300 is a minimum?
At the minimum.
Okay, so 500 is,
above what the
okay.
is.
Can we have everybody within a mile notified? Is there
That's a
something
lot
wrong
of
with them paying for that notification?
It's totally up to the township what they want. It all says it's a minimum of 300 feet by state law.
I think it should be a mile. If the people within a mile of that place are directly gonna get affected by a facility, and their property value will be affected within that mile radius that he's talking about that they look at, then they should all get a letter that are in that district, that are in that area.
What did you pull that 500 off of, if you don't mind me asking?
Another ordinance.
Another ordinance. So, again, they went almost double the minimum. And I understand your concern, but, I mean, we have to be within our means for distances, and I think everybody here is going to hear and spread if or when it comes. So I think even if everybody within 500 feet got notified, it's going to be on Facebook 300 times. It's going to be posted here. So I do think that this would not slip under the radar.
I don't know about that. I mean, I talked to someone at the gym today that didn't have any idea.
Amherst neighborhood, they have no idea this is going on. I spoke to a lot of neighbors today. They don't even know what's going on.
I think we should say, I think
Do you want to go
500.
do you want to go quarter mile? My intent is going forward is using the quarter mile, which would be 1,320.
Yeah, I don't have any research on what other, I mean, again, 300 is a minimum, 500 is another ordinance.
I'll refer to it.
Yeah.
But what do we care if it's a mile? I mean, we're making...
Because it's just an arbitrary number that we're throwing. It has to be within reason and in accordance with other ordinances, or again, we're opening ourselves up
It's
to.
not arbitrary. This man's saying your mortgage is directly affected if you live within a mile of these facilities. Yes, that is a consideration. If we're putting something there that directly affects somebody, we're not going to tell.
Is our common practice here at Lenox to do 500? Is that, or is it 300? What is our common practice? Anybody? 300? Three. Okay, I'll leave it at 5. If we want to discuss that further, we can.
Yeah, I mean, we can
I'll
amend
just
it,
move on.
we can research.
So that property line to.
This just means that you'll get a notice in the mail that there's a public.
He's asking if that distance is from property lines or how that distance is determined.
It would be from the proposed project site, so probably property within 500 feet and is part of the subdivision,
Yes,
so
the
yes.
planner just stated that it's property
Yes.
lines. Yes.
So my house is over 300 feet on the property line.
So you would, yeah, so you would get enough, all this means is that it will still be published, it would still be published as a public hearing, correct? It just means that you would only get a personal invite if you're within that space, but it will still have to be published. It just means that certain people within that closer zone would get a personal letter in the mail.
But I've read that people up to 5 miles away will become affected by an AI data center if they use, especially if they use well water.
It'll drain the wells.
Right.
Anything like that.
So this is just a formality. It will still be published. Everybody will still be open to come here and speak at these public hearings. This isn't limited to, I got an invite, I get to speak. Everybody gets to speak. It's just these people will get the letter in the mail. Because of the closest.
Yeah.
Correct.
I think we hold 500, we do research, and if we need to amend that next week, I think we can
That's fine.
look at that. Make a
Okay.
note to look at that.
Let me see, I got a little off there, so remove that. Minimum setbacks, let's see, dimensional standards. I did have that highlighted with 3 stories to 2 stories with a question mark, as far as where we are to sit with that, which you are already looking into.
Yep.
High resource demand facility, minimum setbacks. High resource demand facility building and equipment 400 feet from all non-residential property lines. Large scale 400 feet from all non-residential property lines. Small scale 100 feet from all non-residential property lines. So there is, I wanted to comment that there were no provisions there for schools, parks, daycare, medical, and all of those sorts of things. And that with those, do we look at the quarter mile specifically of those types of the 1,320 feet for the provisions that we discussed earlier? The medical facilities, churches, daycares. Do we increase it, can we increase it to 1,320 for those specific type of?
I think we've already, 1 year earlier, those are already added. Churches, childcare, prisons, schools, and hospitals.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we have schools.
okay.
Now, I guess
She wants to change
the space,
the spacing away from it to 13, 20.
but that's where we already read, right?
No,
No,
we're
it
at
says
4.
4, 4, and 1, right here. Page 4, minimum setbacks.
Oh, yes.
So it says 4, 4, and 1, she's asking to change it to 13, 20.
Yeah, because we were at 1320.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, like, we could go down, was the 1320 problematic?
It's a very protective thing. It is above what other ordinances have. The only suggestion I had to that was to strictly write in measured lot line to lot line. So that's very clear if or when it would avoid disputes and survey conflicts. Because we're just saying 1,300 feet. It's just to add the lot line to lot line, which I thought in here, I still saw the 1320 for residential.
I do see it here as a residential building separation, the 1320.
Yeah, and we added all that into that, correct?
Yeah.
Mr. Blair? Yeah, so I
So,
still care.
yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that we're looking at the 1320 for those,
Yes, we're
those
grouping that
very
into that
specific.
residential
Correct.
So
category.
lot line to lot line.
Lot line to lot
Correct.
line. We do want that to be specific.
Sorry. So we had the neighborhood meetings, a report after the neighborhood meetings, I think I skipped that. There's 400 others. my page 7, so I'm not sure it's lighting, landscaping.
Gotcha. Page 7?
Correct, I think it is, I think
Yep.
you might have a different copy than I printed mine off myself, so. Okay, so landscaping and buffers, all landscaping and buffers shall comply with the section, green belts, fences, walls, and other barriers, refer to page 8. Can we do, provide required green belts and landscape screening where abutting residential require a minimum type A opaque buffer, berm or wall plus evergreens within the setback. Also, parking lots shall meet interior landscaping ratios. Heat, island mitigation via shade trees is required. I have a note here, maximum lighting. Security. Okay, so maximum on the lighting. Number 3, maximum maintained illuminance at the property line shall not exceed 0.5 foot candles adjacent to the residential and 1 foot candle elsewhere. Okay, and then stormwater and wastewater. Withdrawals, discharge, any large quantity water withdrawal or discharge shall comply with applicable state and county permits. To that, I would like to add that any large quantity of water withdrawal or discharge shall comply with applicable state and county permits approval by the township. It shall be contingent upon written confirmation.
The township can't dictate that, the county runs that.
Or the county, okay, sorry. From applicable utility and regulatory agencies, and that the proposed withdrawal or discharge will not adversely impact existing users, system capacity, groundwater resources, or downstream infrastructure. Community approval shall be conditioned upon finding that the proposed withdrawal or discharge will not exceed available system or aquifer capacity at full build-out, will not displace or impair existing or reasonably foreseeable users, will not require public investment or system expansion to serve the facility, and will not result in stranded or oversized infrastructure in the event of the facility closure or decommissioning.
So on the law for the water, Michigan law generally treats public water sourcing as a utility issue, not zoning. So they say facilities shall utilize a municipal public water system where available and shall not install new on-site wells unless authorized by Eagle in the township. Is a recommendation. Obviously, we don't want to put the wells in there, but that would be, you know, the compliance statement. We can't actually dictate like the amount of water in or out for the county and their systems.
Dave, are you, Mr. Matt?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, are you going to allow the use of wells?
What's that?
Is that what I'm hearing? Is this commission going to allow the use of wells?
No, we prefer not to.
But what the language is read,
Yeah,
as I heard, is talking about withdrawals.
Well, I put it in there as to see where we are with everything else.
Yeah, I think we just want to leave our statement about
We're just going with the water?
The standards of,
Okay.
GLWA, and that they need to meet all requirements of the county and Eagle and associated departments.
All right.
Why can't we go by their standards instead of just saying no? I mean, we all know the dump. If we don't have any control over there at this point, why would we leave it to the state?
The engineer was about to try to explain it to us.
Yeah, can I suggest some language to help?
Sure.
So, in other communities, we said something like, all facilities shall not be served by non-public water sources. This includes groundwater, surface water, rivers, creeks, which are all prohibited.
Yep.
And further, we go, all facilities shall be serviced by public water and sewer connected to the township public water supply and the township wastewater collection system. This is very clear.
Yes.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes. Okay.
May I say something? When I live on the dead end side of Frost, and when Myers was built, it completed a lot of wells down the dead end side of Frost, and new wells had to be built. There should be some kind of stipulation to protect the homeowners to affect their wells.
This would not allow it.
Okay.
We don't want to deal with wells and affected wells because there are many, many studies and you start drawing groundwater affecting aquifers.
Yeah. Meyer isn't using.
We don't want to deal with that, regardless of what the state is saying.
She's saying Meyer isn't using the well. They have nothing to do with the well, but their construction destroyed their well. Construction of the actual.
That's different. That's different. Construction dewatering is totally different. Anybody can use temporary dewatering operations to allow for the construction. That's totally different. That's just temporary drying the hole. You dig a hole that fills with water, you gotta pump it out. So you can safely install something like a water line or a sewer line. That's temporary allowed by the state.
But she's saying if that happens and all those things are done by the rules and everything, but they lose their well anyways, are we going to give them are they going to pay for whatever they need? Whether it's water lines brought to their house or can we put a penalty in that if they disturb these people's wells at all during their construction, that they have to either get water brought to their house or they have to have new wells done at their expense?
Everything you said is correct. The township already have a groundwater and temporary construction water ordinance that was adopted about 20 years ago when we came across that.
I'm talking about the penalty part.
There are also penalties in there, and they have to supply temporary water, and they have to monitor the surrounding wells, and they have to address all these problems.
They will build new wells.
So why wasn't it addressed, if it's been there for 20 years, why wasn't it fixed over at Frost instead of the people paying?
So, guys, can we stay on topic here? I'm sorry.
It's on topic.
It is, but it's not. I mean, we're trying to get through this and strengthen this. And the engineer's telling you there is an ordinance, and it sounds like if there was a problem, hopefully it was put to code enforcement, they're looking into it or have looked into it, and maybe there is resolution that they're not aware of. Maybe it's just as simply as they didn't realize that ordinance was there and they had that right to go do that, right? I mean, we can sit here and speculate, but
Ma'am, is this your well we're talking about?
No, it affected the neighbors across the street.
right, so
But they had to
we
pay
need to stay on
Someone had a
topic.
more shallow well, it affected them. We
All
had
right.
deeper wells, so it
I
didn't
can tell you,
affect
Mr. Chairman, that I know exactly which project she's talking about, and that at that time, it was done under the county, and the county had addressed every well and replaced them.
Okay, this is what I'm
If I
looking
may,
for.
just because I get, yeah. Okay, so to noise and vibrations, noise limit, just in the verbiage, it says no operations, including all mechanical equipment, cooling systems, generators, and HVAC equipment shall not, that's like a double negative, so we should probably remove not, exceed the following noise levels. And that is on page 8, on my page 8.
GA.
Huh?
G1A.
Yeah,
Oh, yes, sorry, yeah. Are you good with that, Dave? Okay. Daytime, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. for light levels. Is it practical, I have a question on this, to reduce the, like go 7 to 7 as opposed to the 10?
Are you talking construction?
I'm talking about the daytime lighting. I'm going to reduce or ask for a reduction from 55 to 50 and 45 to 40 on the noise limit. I'm sorry, I said light, my bad. Okay, I meant to say, noise. Can we change that 10 p.m. to 7 p.m. and then do
50, right?
yes, that to 50, the second one to 40.
What's our current noise ordinance?
That's
Our
a good
current
question.
noise ordinance is non-industrial districts at 65, light industrial district at 70, and high industrial districts at 75.
You're already lower than that, quite a bit.
I would still like to make that request. I agree. Okay, and then are we good with the till 10 p.m.? Everybody? Is that it?
Why don't you say?
7 to 7,
Seven to
Seven.
Right now, it's 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. is considered daytime, and 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. is considered.
Did you have a change between that 7 a.m. and 10 p.m.? Something like that?
It's just, it's more so for pleasure.
Is that just what the typical ordinance currently is, a 7 to 10?
Yeah.
I can take a look at Lenox's ordinances. They're usually typically ordinances, it's not in the zoning, but typically ordinances have something for construction. They also have something for residential, like lawn cutting for single-family homes or something, so I can see how those match up.
Yeah, again, construction is temporary, so you have to treat that as a temporary condition.
Sure.
Right. Okay, so then I'm going to move over to air quality and emissions and add an item on thermal emissions. Thermal emissions, a facility shall be designed and operated so that thermal emissions do not cause a sustained increase in ambient air temperature at any property line beyond the limits below measured at 5 feet above grade residential or mixed-use property line, no more than +2 degrees Fahrenheit above ambient background averaged over any 15-minute period, non-residential property line, no more than +4 degrees Fahrenheit above ambient background averaged over a 15-minute period, and no thermal emissions shall create unsafe conditions or sidewalk, trails, roadways, or public spaces due to icing, fogging, or thermal plume interaction with winter conditions. And then to that, item B, new generators shall meet EPA Tier 4 final standards. Dispersion modeling shall be required where within 500 feet of schools. Again, I'd like to change that to the 1320, parks or hospitals, which is a quarter mile. And then down to item E, generators shall meet generator emissions. Generators shall meet or exceed current EPA Tier 4 final emission standards. Dispersion modeling shall be required if a facility is within, I'd like to ask that that is also changed to 1/4 mile of a residential district, school, park, or hospital. Energy and sustainability. Energy impact assessment and feasibility study. I would like this to expand that some level that this is selected by Lenox Township, not the applicant, and that the cost is to the applicant. Then, as an additional item, renewable energy, the applicant shall demonstrate that on-site renewable energy generation will meet at least 90% of the project's projected annual energy demand if the applicant demonstrates to the community's satisfaction that the standard cannot reasonably be achieved through on-site generation alone. The community may approve compliance through a combination of power purchase agreements, renewable energy credits, or utility green power programs. Any approved renewable energy source or procurement method shall not include nuclear energy.
We can't dictate 90% renewable energy.
Can we, Dave?
You can't dictate that.
Yeah, I gotta read, because actually the renewable energy just got a Court of Appeals decision
Okay.
this morning it came out.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can't
So I
mandate.
digested that.
Okay.
It says you can't mandate specific renewable energy percentages such as 25%, requiring the disclosure of electric rated
I
panels.
will,
So the verbiage that other people have been using is applicants shall submit documentation demonstrating good faith efforts to minimize life cycle greenhouse gas emissions through efficiency procurement or offsets such as renewable energy.
okay, I will leave that with you to come back with feedback on that. I will continue to read that item just as the completion of it. Heat reuse, provide a feasibility analysis for waste heat recovery or district energy interconnection, reporting for annual reporting requirements, and then water conservation. Cooling shall be designed as a closed loop, closed cycle system with no routine discharge or of non-contact cooling water to the sanitary sewer or to the surface waters in order to comply with applicable local sewer use ordinances, including prohibitions, limitations on non-contact cooling water and heat to there. And the Eagle discharges withdrawal permitting requirements, including authorization and Michigan water quality standards and large quantity withdrawal registration review where is applicable.
I got a question. With water, could they use downspouts and save rainwater also?
I'm not sure. Okay, and then, I'm sorry, security and emergency access to add cameras. Installation, maintenance of the perimeter camera surveillance system capable of monitoring all vehicular pedestrian access points, building entrances, and outdoor mechanical equipment areas. They shall be positioned to minimize intrusion into adjoining residential properties and public right-of-ways while still providing full coverage of the site. Camera systems shall be continually operational 24 hours per day, 7 days a week, and recording shall be retained for a minimum of 30 days. Security plan, including a camera layout, monitoring procedures, and data retention policies shall be submitted as part of the site plan review. Back, I think I skipped over it with perimeter security to add item perimeter security, I-1, to add 8-foot fencing and walls as an option as well to the berms.
But that would be based on a noise study that they would
Correct.
bring.
Just as an option. They have still a berm option and stuff, just putting it there. Page...
Can we just, sorry to cut you off,
No,
can we
you're
say a minimum of 8-foot berm? I mean, obviously, if it needs to be larger to reduce the sound, it's just very specific that it's an 8-foot berm. I think it should be a minimum. Yeah.
Yeah, that's put a qualifier in.
Yeah, I mean, if it needs to be 15 or 20, I mean, the ones for the lake up the road are more than 8 feet. And that's not enough, so.
And on the end of that statement also states that such other systems as approved by the planning commission, so give you some leeway and see what's the best solution.
Correct, yeah, I just don't want them to stick that it's an 8-foot berm, so putting the minimum in there gives us the option. Thank you.
Okay, the battery energy storage systems, outdoor system containers shall be set back to a minimum of 100 feet from property lines and 300 feet from residential districts. I asked for that to be changed to 400.
Keep the 100 and change the others to 4?
Correct.
Okay.
And then, use of consultants and recovery, J1, wording, the township may, I would like to change that to the township will retain qualified consultants to review energy efficiency, water use, air quality, safety, renewable energy, stormwater, and related matters, and that would be at the cost to the applicant as stated in item 2.
Who defines reasonable? Shouldn't it just be all costs?
You could. Scratch reasonable, all costs shall be escrowed and warranted to the applicant. Okay, decommissioning.
Jen, on page 14, number 3 at the top where it starts with EFG 8, is 3 supposed to be H or is 3 supposed to be tab a little more full out?
I have no idea where you're at.
Page 14.
I don't even know if I'm there yet. My page is different than your pages, so I think, because I just in my printing.
Failure to monitor report.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sure it's supposed to be H.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Planner, on page 14, it looks like K, There
The
was,
last one.
yeah, there was all the letters, and then we have a number.
It says, it goes G, then number 3 underneath instead of H.
Okay, then a decommissioning plan. Added to that would be page 12, 1A. Plan required as a condition of a special land use and site plan approval, the applicant shall submit a decommissioning and site restoration plan that addresses the triggering for decommissioning, methods of removal of structures, equipment, utilities, and impervious surfaces, recycling and disposal of equipment and hazardous materials, final grading, soil stabilization, and revegetation. Also to add item B, the obligation to provide and maintain a financial guarantee is a continuing covenant that runs with the land and binds the owner. Applicant, operator, if different, and all successors and assigns, no sale, conveyance, assignment, foreclosure, lease, or other transfer of any interest in the property shall impair or release the obligation to maintain the financial guarantee. The community shall not release any financial guarantee unless the community has confirmed in writing that the obligations secured thereby have been fully performed or that an acceptable substitute financial guarantee has been provided. The amount shall equal 150% of the estimated decommissioning cost as determined by a qualified engineer and approved by the community. Estimates must be updated every 5 years and adjusted for inflation.
So the request is to change the 125% of the decommissioning to 150.
Yeah. I also have item D here. So I would like to scratch item C. Decommissioning may not be required if the property owner can provide documentation which is satisfactory to the planning commission that the facility can be repurposed for another use as outlined in the reuse plan and shall be completed within 3 years of the date of abandonment. So either scratch it or reduce the 3 years to something else. So something's not sitting there for 3 years. That's item L1C.
So if they decommission it and they could just do something
So right now it's
similar?
stating that it can be abandoned and sit there for 3 years, if I understand that correctly. Dave, am I understanding that correctly?
It says decommissioning may not be required if the property owner can provide documentation which is satisfactory to the planning commission that the facility can be repurposed for another use as outlined in the reuse plan and shall be completed 3 years from the date of abandonment.
So they have to show progress.
So, I mean,
So
they're
I just
saying,
think 3 years is a really long time for it to be sitting there.
So what would you like to change it to?
That gives you the flexibility to come back to planning, and if you don't agree with it, you just deny it. That's
Within that 3-year period? You saying within that 3-year period?
Yeah, but it comes back to planning. It's up to you, this board comes to approve it or not.
So when they come to us, so Mr. Med, let me clarify. So if they come to us and they say, we want to change it into something else, even though it says 3 years, at that time, before we even say, yes, you can change it into something else, we can say you have to do it in 12 months or 18 months or whatever, right?
Yes, it gives you the option to do that, but I can see if you just wanted to leave it at the planning commission discretion. But then the issue there is, what if you get a planning commission, all of a sudden, we like 5 years or 6 years? It goes both ways.
Right.
That's what you got to think about or consider when you.
So we leave the 3 as the maximum, but when they come before us, we can say, we want it done 12 months or 18
Yes,
months
if
or
you do
whatever.
12 months or a year, now you don't approve the reuse plan. And they have to follow the abandonment plan, which is 1 year.
Yeah, the key word here is satisfactory to the planning commission.
Okay.
So do we want to leave it with 3? Are we good with that?
What do they do if the land's contaminated and they can't use it after they're done with it?
that would all be in the reuse plan. They'd have to prove it, it has to be vetted, and then we have to approve the reuse plan. I mean, if we're worried about the 3 years, I mean, I'm not opposed to making it 2.
That's fine.
Do we go 2?
Yeah,
2?
at least.
It's okay.
Okay.
Well, it says at our discretion, so it doesn't really matter what it says, because it says it's at our discretion anyway, so. We can have some say, like the way it's written, yes.
We can always change it.
Okay, and then it's quite lengthy. If everybody would like a copy of it, I didn't make it, but I can definitely forward it to you. The public benefit package, and that is this one. Do you want me to read it into the record? It's 3 pages long, 4 pages long. Are you good?
Just give it to me.
Yeah, let's email it, and then we can finalize at the meeting next week.
Okay, so that's good. I will remove myself from that one, and then my just scribbles. I'm super sorry. Study. Do we have, do we want to discuss, and I'm just going to throw these out here, because they weren't in other ordinances, it's just stuff that I noted. So water use, energy use studies, penalty processes, as was brought up, would like to see something a little bit more like, I don't know if that would be governed by this document, but if they violate sound, how we will penalize them, and those types of things.
Yes, we can put statements in here, but I just want to make sure the attorney looks at these, because there could be penalties written into the code of ordinances, which is a separate ordinance in the zoning, but we don't want to conflict.
Got it. Okay, landscape, dust mitigation, stuff like that for under landscaping. Annual inspection, which I believe we discussed, right? Total land restriction, percent, company accountability for community hardships. Refilling of water, I didn't see that often time when they have to refill for their cooling. Patient loans, operation loans. I did have in here the tonal low frequency noise. Vibration limits not to exceed 0.02 peak particle velocity or 65 vibration decibels. Compliance bonds, so that if they are not complying, that we can hold that and use that as a means to get them compliant. Maybe a provision that if we are challenged with the ordinance, that if the court deems any of this ordinance as unconstitutional or invalid, that it does not nullify the rest. And then the last thing that I want to address is within the community benefit package, that both communities that are affected are a part of that package, both New Haven and Lenox. Based on percentage of impact or some sort of algorithm that gets us there.
Who would determine that?
What's that?
Who would determine that?
Well, if we were to do like a radius or something, I'm just, you know, this percent is impacting Lenox, this percent is impacting. So when you look at the benefit package, if say, I'm just pick a number, $1 million is going to the fire department, and 50% of the impact zone is New Haven, and 50% of the impact zone is Lenox. New Haven gets 500, Lenox gets 500, so that it impacts the areas that are impacted are compensated.
So I would say let's get the community benefits review from what she sends and compare it to other ones in place and make sure that
And that's
they're.
just an idea.
Right.
Okay?
I think we gotta definitely make sure it falls within the guidelines of other community benefits packages.
These became kind of legal agreements at some point, so a little bit, I don't mind them, but I'm a little bit hesitant about having an attorney looking at these.
Yes, for
sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because there's other laws we have to worry about.
Right, so I think that the suggestion would be to review what she sends and then look at with the attorney what other ordinances have, and then we can review that in the meeting next week. And if there's anything we think we need to fine tune, we can do that. I think we need a first review of something.
And then there was one other thing, that if they are non-compliant and they fail to bring that section into compliance, I had wording for that, and I cannot find out where I put that. Okay, so failure to maintain compliance constitutes grounds for suspension or revocation of the certificate of occupancy for that specific building or location. And that is it.
So you're saying we can turn it off?
Just that area, not the whole thing. But if they are not compliant in a certain area, or.
So if a generator
Right.
is
And that's
over
not
the
like,
compliance, she's saying that we could force them to shut it down until they become
and that's
compliant.
like, that's
What about
like,
the overall sound of the building itself, what's emitting out of it?
so that would be not something that happened like the first time or second time, but if they are continually non-compliant and they just decide they want to pay fines because it's easier than fixing their problem, or they don't feel like fixing their problem, then they would, that part, it pretty much forces them to fix that part of their dynamic. Or they can't use it.
If they shut it down, they'll melt down.
Not just that area, like just that problem. Well, they're gonna fix it, right?
Yeah, let's
So.
hope so.
But if you do total noise ordinance, it won't be bumped at all.
Okay.
Just so you understand, total noise and low frequency noise are two different things. They overlap, but they're different, so I don't think it can hurt to do your research and add the total noise in here, because.
I did mention it.
And
Actually,
actually, you're the one.
That actually came from a senior industrial hygienist and environmental specialist, which you commented on. That actually came from her, who lives in Michigan, and her and another lady from Michigan are actually in this right now, fighting for them for data centers. In her words today, they actually just did a live today from Kansas, and they said, if you use those words in your ordinance, it's dead in the water.
Right, but we can't put something in an ordinance that stops it completely, so we can.
It doesn't,
look
all
at
they have to do is make an adjustment to comply with your ordinance.
Yep.
It doesn't stop them from building,
Yep.
they just have to comply with your ordinance.
Right.
So it's not, it's, a data center can absolutely go there as long as they are compliant with your ordinance. Which then they just have to rebuild something to where they are not so loud, and with the total noise, it's a constant monotone, there is no variance in any
Yep.
kind of sound.
She mentioned it, it's gonna be looked at for the ordinance.
Okay.
Good?
So.
Okay.
That was good.
Commissioner Olu, got anything?
I reviewed everything like 5 times.
Okay.
And over. And I just want to say that I did get a chance to look at about 8 different ordinances from different states. Not only those, none of them were really defeated. They just put protections in place like what you were talking about. So they would have to come into compliance. So they weren't defeated, but it did stretch out the time limit where they weren't ready to build because now they had to go back and replan.
Correct.
So I understand what you're talking about. No, I have
It's
a chance.
better for everybody, for them, for us, for everybody.
Yep. Nope, I have nothing.
Okay, thank you. So I guess I'd like to go through just some of the blue notes that were up for discussion, so we can either add or remove those. So, page 4, rewrite to better clarify that a project will be reviewed using special land use standards of the zoning ordinance. I think everyone's okay with adding that, correct? Okay, so we can add that one in. Under E on page 4, consider reducing the lot coverage to align with commercial and industrial zoning district requirements. Maximum lot coverage, so we've got 60%. Do we have the, you're saying to align, do we know the percentage?
Yeah, right now your industrial district districts and commercial districts have a 40% maximum lot coverage.
So can we change 60 to 40?
Yes.
Okay. Everyone okay with that?
Yes.
And that's for everyone's concern of it being the entire property. Again, it's
Reducing it to
yeah, reducing it to 40. So we can't get the thing. Page 5, suggestion to make distance greater. I think based on other ordinances feedback, I think we're okay with the 1320 as long as we allow the churches, schools, daycare facilities to be in there. The next one comes on page 8. And item C, to monitor and take corrective action to eliminate PFAS discharge, and then to require the annual. So the only thing I saw on the PFAS was...
Were you gonna change that annual?
Yes.
The PFAS you're talking about right now, it was one of your comments I received from somebody, and I think we need to generalize that into kind of materials regulated by Eagle.
Yeah, I was going to say, whatever the standard would be for these, is there something in
Some
Eagle?
some general language, someone sent me to fit perfectly in there.
From Eagle?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And so it kind of takes out, because right now I'm trying to mix up zoning with a state regulatory environmental law, and we should try to separate.
So, yeah, let's put the Eagle line in there, we can look at that closer on Monday then. But let's see what they say there. Same page, we already talked about the decibels, so we addressed that.
Could I interject with the decibels? You know, if there's already an ordinance in place with the township that has higher decibels, is that what?
Right, and we already recommended reducing them. We already are under the current, and we are going under the already suggested. So we're probably about as low as we can go if we're even allowed to push it that low. So, because right now, current is 65 and 70, and we're at 50 and 40. So, I mean, any other business around here is already going to be pointing that, why do they have to not comply to that? So, I mean, we can't, I don't think we can go much lower than that. We're already 30% under.
Okay, so you're talking about businesses that are already up and running, okay, they shut down. They're not a 24-hour, aggravation. They just continue.
Right.
But they would still have to meet the daytime regulations.
It's daytime and nighttime.
So they're
So
different.
it's there.
You change those times from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., right, for daytime? And nighttime from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.?
Can we modify something that's more strict than the current ordinance, or would we have to look at modifying the entire ordinance? For hours for the township?
This is a data center, so you could, it's got their own special criteria, so you could add something different in here.
So do we want to try to go?
The only issue is if you come in and they start pointing at the other ordinances.
Right, right, that's what I'm saying, our other ordinance allows
We're
that.
gonna get into. Like I think I got a note in here to take a look, see what's in your current ordinance, see if you align with.
Let's look at the current ordinance and we can firm that up on Monday then. Because I mean, like I said, we already are lower than the other ones, so I want to be careful there. So the renewable energy, I did do research on that. I've got data saying you cannot dictate that. So the suggestion was to eliminate. My suggestion is to add the statement that I read. That seems to work legally for other places. Yes. It was, applicants shall submit documentation demonstrating good faith efforts to minimize life cycle greenhouse gas emissions through efficiency, procurement, or offsets such as renewable energy. And that allows planning commission discretion and typically survives legal scrutiny based off other ordinances. We already changed the water supply back to what we originally wanted it as, so we're good there. We talked about environment, illumination, sewage. Commissioner Rodzik touched on those. And then page 15 was the community benefits, which we already had. So, under hazardous materials, I'd like to just add nothing herein alters state for federal reporting thresholds. So that way, if we were to get into a legal battle, we can fall back to the national standards. Again, we have control on the review for the landscaping, so I'm okay with that. For the generator testing, I don't think there is specific, what page was that? Generator.
Page
7. 9. Yep, so generators, okay, so she touched on the tier 4, all that. I'd like to add, we have applicants shall submit an annual statement to Township confirming compliance with Eagle and reporting actual operating testing hours. I've seen that we can actually add a statement that it's aligned with Eagle and EPA norms for the windows of testing. So they're not testing these things full till, at night, which the noise ordinance should take care of that. But we just want to make sure that the testing is done in accordance.
Well, the state sheet here says that it's tested between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m.
So you like business hours? I'm sorry, go ahead.
But it can't be done in the evening.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's why we're stating that they need
I just
to.
want to reiterate.
Yeah, they want, because it doesn't say in here, just as they produce an annual statement confirming it.
Right here.
Oh, yeah, okay. No, I did.
G.
I was looking at H.
Yep. You missed G.
Geez,
Yep.
you make that 9 a.m.?
Thinking 9 to 5 p.m., is that what you're thinking?
9 to 5? Yeah.
During business hours?
Normal business hours.
On G.
Make it non-annual, make it like.
Yeah, I mean, again, I was just going off the Eagle standards. It doesn't state a specific time, so let's look at that, and if it allows us to modify the hours, we can address that on Monday. But there is a provision for testing generators. It didn't give me that time frame. Yeah, we're gonna look at what the legal is for Eagle and see if that says it can only be annual or if that's the minimum. We just gotta look at that language. So we'll see what Eagle has to say on this stuff, and then we'll go from there. Looks like we got a spelling error on page 7. On-site detention and water quality treatment?
Should that be an R instead of a D?
No, detention is like, you have like a pond, like a detention pond, or on that, like a lot of places. Yeah, we're not allowing the groundwater, so I don't think, the engineer's not here, but I don't think they'd have a detention pond with one of these. And I think that's, yeah, I think that's all I have. Commissioner Millard, anything from you?
I don't know, is there a way that we could put in, we had the resident that asked about not clearing the entire land. Is there a way that we can put in there for like the berm and stuff, that if there is trees close to the property line, that they not clear them and put the berm behind those trees?
So my understanding of this is when they provide the site plan, they have to provide the berms, the landscaping, the spacing, and we can dictate that. So we would get that choice.
So okay, so we don't have to put it in the ordinance?
No, because that's,
Because to me, if it's there, why are we clearing it? If we can keep, some of that, so.
Yeah. Because it's already part of our obligation to review for landscaping.
Right.
And we can dictate that they leave that.
Okay.
And you can, just like the campground, when they originally had all the trees and they wanted to remove more trees to add cabins, they had to get permission for that. So when it comes to doing that, we do get the input based off of what we're allowed to do.
Okay, and then the decommissioning, 1B, I would like to see that not 6 months, 4 months.
Okay, so.
Decommissioning must begin within 4 months, because let's be honest, by 6 months, it's already starting to look run down and dingy, and we don't want that. Page 14,
Yeah.
sorry. 14, letter L.
Well,
under
and I guess I would state too, is
Speed.
I think just because they're decommissioned doesn't mean they lose all obligations to maintain the property.
Right,
Yeah,
but if we could change that to 4,
Yeah.
I'd be happy.
I'm okay with that. Everyone okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's it, everything else we think was pretty much covered.
Okay. Commissioner Pennell?
On page 5, architectural design and building materials. A lot of things I've been seeing in regards to building materials. I mean, can we require doubling the walls so that there's, that sound barrier in between? Like I was watching something about where they went into a previous building, it was a warehouse, and which was a metal structure. And it was a previous location, and it was built, it was built for a warehouse, not a data center. So those walls were not designed to absorb the sounds that are coming out.
So like brick.
Yes, it doesn't have to be brick, should it be a cinder block wall and then a brick to diffuse the sound that will come out of there as much as possible before it gets to the residents?
I'm thinking they trying to dictate construction standards to somebody to a zoning ordinance. I don't think it's advisable. We got noise regulations in there of what they could do. There might be other technologies that come forward that someone could use.
And I think most of the noise comes from the generators and the exteriors things.
Yeah.
And like you said, that was a building that wasn't intended to be a data center. So I do think that risk is lower with a new construction building set for that. And the engineer would review the building and the structure in accordance with all the building codes.
Yeah, you have a building department that follows the building code that you have to meet minimum standards.
But do the building codes ever take into consideration, 100,000 computers in one building? I mean,
They have to provide the sound studies showing how they mitigate that with the building, the structure, the berms or proper. So I mean, that's part of the studies and the reports that they show us would be reviewed for compliance.
so then would those studies then dictate what materials they would need to use on their building to?
Yeah, well, you have the performance standards, you call them. They have the percentages, the noise levels, and however they want them to get them, as long as they get those noise levels, it's what the zoning ordinance is concerned about.
Okay.
So is that the same as decoupling? When you double the walls, is that the same as decoupling?
Boy, you're asking building questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That term I've heard, I don't know exactly, I don't want to give you the wrong answer.
That's okay. I know it's related to Commissioner, what you mentioned, and you might not know it. Builders do that for noise, but it depends on how the wall is built, the specifications. It has to be a lot of modifications to do that, and it does cost a lot more. So, it's just called decoupling.
Money is not an object, no.
That's why I mentioned it.
Page 7 in regards to lighting. So we're talking about having fixed lighting on at all times for their security. This is high-tech business here. Do we really need to have constant lighting on that basically will black out the stars around these people's?
Light pollution at its finest.
So I mean, it says exterior lighting, full cut, off fixtures, downward directed, shielded to prevent glare, and light trespass beyond property lines. And I think with the berms, with the trees and the walls, that in theory, you shouldn't be able to see much of the light pollution.
I can see the prison from my house.
But are there berms and trees around the prison? And the prison has to be lit up for
And
people
property
to get out of there.
Yes, the prison's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I'm saying this is high-tech people. Can't they have infrared security, lights go on when sensors sense people in
Night
the area
vision.
or an animal? Instead of leaving this place on from, 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, they can have motion lights
to
and security
all the
lights.
way the next morning, this brightness. Isn't there a way to do that in a more high-tech fashion for this type of
There
business?
could be something could come to, something you can discuss when the admin comes. I don't know any technology right now, there's probably technology out there, I'm absolutely certain, somebody, Department of Defense or something, has some type of technology.
In Tucson, they have really strict lighting, exterior lighting, because of the observatories nearby, where they have to be, they're very specific downward facing lights.
Well, that's
So
the
the
thing.
technology is out there.
But we're going with the lighting that we currently have. I mean, I'll take a specific building, the lights off of, whatever the guy is that sits over there off the building on Gratiot. All that lighting gets directed off the building, obviously you follow permits, but it all gets directed off the building and out to us. So that's current ordinance, and that's allowable, whatever he did there. And it's very bright. I'm saying, and I don't think that our current ordinance is
What building are you talking about?
No,
What
this
building?
guy here, what's he called? Rosales?
Roseals,
Didn't he own this
the
business
farm
right out here?
equipment place on
Yeah.
Gresham.
Yeah, that's the business I'm talking about.
Roseal's tractor.
So the lights on that building,
Obnoxious.
yes, that's what I'm trying to say, those lights are very obnoxious.
But this says that it can't, the light trespass cannot go beyond your property line.
And again, Roseal doesn't have a berm with, pine trees on top of it, and we're gonna dictate that. They gotta have a 10-foot berm with staggered evergreens that are mature. I mean, we're gonna have potentially a baseline of 30 feet before they grow. I mean, if you put 30 feet around Roseals, you're not seeing that light.
Okay, wait a minute, why do they even need lights? There's nobody working here.
Well, that's what I'm asking, why do they,
So, I mean,
they're gonna have, they're gonna replace everybody with a robot, they'll probably have a robot dog out there. I don't know.
so I guess this,
It's so high tech here, why can't we require it not to kill our stars? No matter what we currently have does, and the jail does, these facilities pollute the light.
so, but in the regs, but I mean, again, this is a separate code. Do we know that the other businesses, it says that they can't prevent glare, light trespass beyond property lines?
That's why I said that other ordinance needs to be looked at, because.
Right, but now we're trying to argue about other businesses when this clearly says the light cannot go beyond the property lines. So,
Some people that
it's
live
pretty
on data
specific.
centers, they still complain of the lights, they said their house is lit up at nighttime.
So-
The ones that live by data centers, they can't go to sleep.
if there's nothing to add to this, again, this clearly states it cannot trespass, and they need to come to us, and then we need to dictate what they're gonna have. So I think we have pretty good control over the lighting.
I think it should be on some kind of sensors that.
And again, we can work that with a site plan. We can't dictate that now because we don't know what it is. And they may come in and say, we're not gonna have any lights, they're all motion. And then we're gonna say, oh, that's exactly what we were hoping for. So again, we can't speculate what lighting is gonna be on it, but that'll be.
We could just require it anyways. To start.
Yeah, it's right here.
Why am I waiting for that?
Okay, next item.
Fire protection and suppression. Well, now, am I correct if these buildings are gonna be full of lithium batteries? And, I mean, literally, you watch a car go up in flames and they sit there and watch it, because they can't put the
Good
thing
chance
out.
you're gonna have it outside. You're gonna have, a good chance you're gonna have a BESS system there.
What?
A BESS, it's called Battery Energy Storage System. Because they have to stay operating. They can only go down for a short period of time.
So, are those devices like a lithium battery where
That's
they
what it is.
burn forever?
There's a self-contained lithium battery inside like a container.
Just like them inside a car, right? I mean, I watched on 23 Mile one day, and I just thought it was funny. I come back 3 hours later, because the damn car's still on fire. But the fire people, I guess there's only so much they can do with those. They can't put that out. They gotta wait for it to burn out.
Yeah.
If there's certain chemicals that
Run away from it.
Yeah. So are those things taken into consideration? I mean, they're not specifically put here, but is there specific ways to make sure that when this place goes up,
Well, I'm
especially
looking
if
at,
it is
I'm looking at item 7B, it says best self-comply with NFPA 855, Michigan Building Code, newly adopted Township Fire Code manufacturer's specifications.
So does our newly adopted fire code cover what would be necessary to put up?
I bet you the newly adopted fire code probably refers to NFPA 855. I dealt with a number of these, and every fire chief I've dealt with says, as long as they've got those in there, that one fire code, National Fire Code, that's what they use.
Yeah. I didn't get warm fuzzies from that answer. It's still, if, maybe, we need to know exactly what needs to be put in place to put.
So it says right here, under that, I mean, it says comply with NFPA 55, all the codes. We talked about the setbacks, we already increased it from the property line. And then D says provide vehicle impact protection, fire rated separation where required, gas detection, ventilation, and emergency shutoffs. Include a best specific emergency response plan and data sheet package. So not only do they gotta comply, they have to provide all these plans, which has to get approved by the fire chief, by us, by all the boards. I mean, this is basically stating that everything has to be strictly outlined in detail to meet all codes, government regulations.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, it clearly states here that that's what they have to do, so.
Are these things actually covered though? We're assuming.
Yes, they are. Again, this is zoning. Fire code is up to the fire department. So if redevelopment comes in, it goes through the fire department for review of all the details. And we cannot, conflict with their code.
Right.
But they do their own review using their own standards, and every development has to comply. And what this section says, every development has to comply.
I mean, fire departments, practicality, you can apply, even approve something here at the planning commission, the fire department said, no, it's not going anywhere.
But will the fire department have the teeth to, again, what we don't know about these centers, I don't know if any of them set out fire to burn.
Again, we're not writing the fire code here. We're just writing the zoning code. That level of review detail and all the requirements, it's totally up to them what they require and what they're comfortable with. Because they are the ones who are fighting this fight, not fighting each other.
Sure, hold on.
But,
Are we equipped to handle that?
Sorry.
Is our fire department equipped to handle that? Do we have the right equipment for that?
It would have to be met, like we said about the 3-story building, that we put the clause in there. If we cannot manage it, we would have to have a written agreement from Chesterfield like we've done in other businesses such as the hospitals to support it. So we cannot approve a building that we cannot handle. And that's what the engineer's saying. We've had to tell people that they can't build their building the way they have it because their dumpster's gonna interfere with a fire if it were there. I mean, I've seen plants get shut down over a dumpster being in the fire lane. So I'm pretty confident that the fire thing will be looked at very seriously and
What
strictly.
about the materials that are within that building?
It's-
Can our fire department handle that?
It all has to comply and meet all the fire codes and Michigan code and the Township fire code, and it has to all be bought off that it's addressed
And
for this language.
I just have to say that Jeff White, who is in charge of all of that, is on top of everything. So unfortunately, he's not here tonight, but I can tell you that if it comes before him, he will make sure.
Yeah. And I'm sure he'll be here Monday, so we can get these answers. So again, I mean, let's not dwell on speculation when we don't have the appropriate people.
If there was a problem, what would the evaluation be for our?
That's all has to be included in the plan and reviewed by the fire township. They have to meet all codes.
That would be up to Mr. White again.
I'm just trying to understand it.
Yep.
It says releases toxic fumes, hydrogen fluoride, and particles endangering nearby population if they were on fire.
Do you have anything else, Commissioner?
that's all I got.
Commissioner Gurley, you have anything else?
No, pretty much everything that I was gonna suggest has already been suggested.
Okay. All right, well, I think the planner has quite a bit of language to add, review, and some questions to try to answer, by Monday. So, I guess with that, I appreciate everyone's due diligence. I know we've all been looking at this heavy the last 7-8 days especially. With that, I'd like to look for a motion.
Motion for what?
I'll make a motion to set a public hearing for the data center ordinance. Do you think a half hour is enough time for the first one?
It was just in that same meeting. That's just the meeting time. Right?
So we'll say the 29th of May.
Directly after the other.
Well, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Razik,
Support.
a support by Commissioner Millard. Can we please get a roll call?
Radzick,
Yes.
Millard,
Yes.
Gurley. Yes. Pennell,
No.
Sutton,
Yes.
Jabor.
Yes.
Thank you. All ayes have,
Thank you.
Sorry. Pennell said nay.
Okay, so now we're gonna go into, technically, we messed up with our letter in here because you guys wanted to put in unfinished business, so it would go into new business. So new business would be recommend, well, the first one's the environmentalist. So, I'd be looking for the motion.
Motion to make a recommendation to, you can catch me on that one. The motion to make a recommendation that the Lenox Township Board allow the Planning Commission to get the services of an environmentalist to look at our ordinance and the impacts they think that this may have on our community.
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Liddell
I'll second.
and a second by Commissioner Razik. Can we please get a roll call?
Pennell,
Yes.
Radzick,
Yes.
Gurley. Yes. Millard,
Yes.
Sutton,
Yes.
Jabor.
Yes.
All ayes.
All right, thank you. So now we're moving into new business, B. That was,
Attorney.
yeah, the recommendation for the township to potentially seek an additional attorney to review the documents, I guess, right? I guess whoever wants to make the motion can.
A motion to ask the Township Board, or we recommend to the Township Board that they allow us to engage with an attorney that is actually specializes in these type of things versus the generalized municipal attorney. To get a specialist in here basically. In data centers or high impact property, I guess you wouldn't just say.
And the recommendation is strictly just to review this ordinance, like the ordinances?
And make suggestions that help us. Tell us
Guide.
what we don't know.
Yeah, guide you.
Okay. So we have a motion by Commissioner Pennell,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Razik. Can we get a roll call, please?
Pennell,
Yes.
Radzick,
Yes.
Gurley. Yes. Millard,
Yes.
Sutton,
Yes.
Jabor.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And then we have new business C, which is a recommendation to the board for the master plan review, or opening, I guess however it needs to be worded.
A motion to send a recommendation to the Board of Trustees that if they need to be involved in the master plan reopening or allocate funds in order to do that, that they do it.
We have a
Funds to be,
motion by Commissioner Pennell,
I'll second.
a second by Commissioner Razik.
Pennell,
Yes.
Radzick,
Yes.
Gurley. No. Millard,
Yes.
Jabbar?
No.
Knows him.
And then did we have another one, or we combine them?
Okay, interesting.
Because you kind of combined it, right?
Well, it's two separate. If they have to do it, then I'm asking them to do it. If we can do it, and this next motion would be that we do it.
Okay.
And if we can't, obviously the motion is mute. But if we can do it, then we can proceed. So the motion would be that the Planning Commission of the Township of Lenox open up the master plan for amendments.
We have a motion by Commissioner Brunel.
We all love the I-94 district, I guess. Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have support by Commissioner Rodzik. Roll call, please.
Canal?
Yes.
Radzik?
No.
Gurley? No. Muller?
No.
Sonnen?
No.
Jabbar?
No.
Knows him.
So to clarify on the other one, I think it was a tie, correct?
Yes, so with that.
Okay, with that then, we're done with new business, so we will move back into public comment.
Hi, I'm Leah Jarrah. I'm 30885 Elk Street, New Haven. And I was just coming up here just to, so everyone knows, but for the next meeting on Monday, I'm not sure if it's only New Haven or if it's Lenox also, but residents have gotten phone calls to make sure that they attend Monday's meeting in support of the data center and that it will be passed at 6:30. This call was through WhatsApp and it was based in Oklahoma. And I put something up on just our social media, and we've had over 10 people say that they've gotten the same exact phone call. So just so you all know that people are probably going to come in hot on Monday, even hotter than usual. Thank
So
you.
maybe that was the call maybe that was the call I got today that I cut them off and said, I'm a planning member, please don't call me again. But it came from Roseville, not from Oklahoma.
Yeah, it still said 586, but once I tracked it, it was,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks for the heads up.
Excuse me, Joe Marino again. I'd like to say I'm proud of this board for sticking with this. You guys did a really good job. I think we're working on a real solid ordinance here. I know how hard your jobs are. I sat on that planning commission for 6 years. Prior to getting on the planning commission, I took a class that had to do with planning, and it was put on by Michigan State University. In the program book, or I should say the textbook, there was a phrase in there that I kind of held dear to me. Municipalities should be proactive about planning for future proposals. Okay? I'm going to go off of this right now to say, if it's not a data center, what will it be next? Because you will be tested again, okay? Prior to data centers, what was the hot topic?
Landfill.
Marijuana.
Battery, that's a good one. Battery manufacturing facilities, does anybody remember that? And there was a very hot topic on that, and there's a lot of discussion of it. Same thing, just before that, we had the marijuana issues, okay? There will always be issues that we need to work on. Our best form of defense for any of it is solid. Yeah, exactly. Solid laws that require developers to develop within the neighborhood to our satisfactions. Thank you.
Thank you.
I understand the whole what's next. I understand that you're tested every step of the way with these things. But let's look at the whole picture. You've never been tested with anything that is showing throughout the country and outside the country how deleterious this is to the citizens, to the ecological background, to all of it. A battery manufacturer or something, yes, there are issues with that. There are a lot of things you guys have to deal with that. It doesn't compare to this data center that is not even just a little one. And there's proof everywhere. As I said at the Township board meeting, I'll say it here. Don't Google the results. Talk to the people around the country who live there. Big difference, big difference. And I have talked to several people around the country who live near data centers. So yeah, I know you guys are tested all the time, but never at this scale.
Good evening, board. Brian Myson, 57481. I apologize for being a little late tonight. The Village of New Haven had our council meeting tonight. I wasn't here to hear the public comment or hear how the meeting went earlier, but the fact that it's 9:30 and you guys are still here just shows the testament that you guys are actually really trying to make this happen, and I think that you guys deserve the admiration of the residents for that. I also want to apologize for what I would consider the disrespect you guys got for being accused of kicking the can down the road when you guys have only had this ordinance for a month. Despite the 4 months that you guys were given, and the Township Supervisor's Office was screwing around with a 3-page ordinance that was missing every type of restriction possible, you guys, for all intents and purposes, have only had a working ordinance for less than a month. So I applaud you guys for the progress you have made, despite the kicking the can comment that was made. That said, giving you guys a heads up, in the coming days, you guys, the office officials, will be receiving a copy of the Village of New Haven's resolution number 2026-006, a formal resolution of the Village Council of the Village of New Haven opposing the potential development of large-scale data center facilities in close proximity to the village's residential communities. When you look at the 1-mile radius within the I-94 Development District, it touches almost every single densely populated subdivision in the Village of New Haven and in Lenox Township and in Casco Township. It touches communities there too. The impacts of this development district need to be understood. Thank you.
Thank you. It's not as long of a line tonight. I has anything to say.
You were thorough. Just
Well,
thorough. Yeah, and you did your job right.
Thank you. Anybody else want to come up to the podium?
Data centers?
Yeah.
So my
Oh, you
granddaughter,
just turned it off.
My granddaughter plays soccer back here, and it was one of those lovely rainy days, and the field is up and the field is dry, but as visitors to get to that field, we have to walk through the ditch of water. It's too big to jump. Is there a way to put a little culvert and a path to walk across periodically to get to each field so that you don't have to walk through the water? Thanks.
We can talk to some people.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about our garbage pickup.
Anybody else?
Can that be added, like if we talk about it, for real, not even joking? People are.
You can come up there and state, if you got something to state.
You can't fix your trash.
Oh, someone's got to fix it.
So since our garbage companies change, contracts have changed, we have people actually dumping on Omo Road, because Wetzel's right there, there are dressers, there's a mirror. They refuse to pick up garbage. My son this morning, I had to call my neighbors to see if we could take 2 garbage bags, if they had room in their dumpster. Like, this is becoming crazy at this point. We can't even get rid of trash, like spring clean. We have nowhere to put it, and they will not pick it up if it's touching the ground, or if your garbage can is raised too much to where they can't put the arms to dump it because they will not get out of their truck. If that were to happen, if it falls on the ground, we have a major garbage issue. In the dumping, the people leaving their furniture on the side of the roads, I'm sure you have all seen that, but they will not pick it up anymore. That used to never be a problem or a concern, but it needs to be, something needs to be fixed.
So we've got the code enforcement here, so I'm sure he's listening. But definitely, you know, that's going to be something that the board of trustees would have to address. I mean, yeah, we can't control it, but it's heard, it's documented. All right. Anybody else? Are we ready to go? All right. Well, I would be moving into adjournment then, number 8.
Call from the table.
Oh, yeah, we had to call from the table. 7. Anybody got anything else?
I have a few questions I would like answered from the administration if they could provide them. One, did the Board of Trustees ever vote to come up with this district? Who developed this I-94 corridor? And again, was it endorsed by the Board of Trustees to do so? And I'd like to say I'm really disappointed in this board not wanting to look at this district and just allowing it to go through, because it will change everything that we have here. Or it may not. It may just all be bulldozed and look like hell, like I-94 and Hall Road has for many, many years. And the rest of the projects that someone thinks they're going to do wonderful things for, and they're all going to come here and say, oh, how about a Partridge Creek and this and that and this beautiful thing, and we're going to do all this for you. Would you okay this? Because it's going to be great. And then, you know, phase 1 comes and you got one building, and nothing ever comes of it. But yet the property's been cleared, the dirt's been sold, it's no longer ever going to be agricultural. And this district totally changes what New Haven and Lenox are. I don't know how you can say it any other way. And considering we have so much space that isn't developed over in the district that was supposed to be our business district, and we have Gratiot, I'd really like to know who came up with this master plan idea that we needed this district in the first place. And I'm disappointed in this board in not trying to look at it. It should have, something this big should have went on the ballot for the people to vote for. And it shouldn't have been done by a few. That's all I got.
Thank you. Anybody else on the table? Okay, then we can move into adjournment. You're looking for a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting at 9:35.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Millard, support from Commissioner Jamari. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.